That's weird. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Well, I noticed that when I was. Yeah. But just for the record, topics are we're just doing midterms and future stuff. So like 2024, I will try to refrain from going off topic. I will try to refrain from you know stuff we talked about fairly recently. I will try to refrain from. All right, his bitch ass is here. But just to get y'all introduced and everything first. So, oh yeah.
Likewise.
Oh, he's throwing on the dog. He said, "I'm a military man, throwing on the dog tags, boy." Woo! Oh, I got a spicy take. I got a spicy take that you're gonna love, Evan. I got a spicy take you're gonna love. I'm gonna save it for the stream. Save it
God
for the
damn
stream.
it.
All right. Oh, hold on. What you got there, Matt? What you got there, buddy?
Oh, Elf Bar.
Yo, I swear to God, it looked like you just took a hit of a blunt, bro. It looked like smoke for some reason. I don't know why. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
I was about to say V past that joint, bro. Stop being stingy. But Evan, we're gonna kick you out for now. We're just gonna do like a 2-3 minute intro and rock on. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You sure? You don't look ready.
I'm ready. I mean,
right.
like, I'm putting on, like, my watches and shit, but...
All right. All right, so I told him topics are midterms,
Jesus,
future,
Christ.
basically like election stuff. I told him I would try to refrain. I will do my best to refrain from speaking ill of the Jewish community. I will do my best to try to refrain from speaking on foreign politics. I will do my best.
We should speak on foreign politics.
Well, okay.
Not to corner him or anything, but...
Okay. All right. But I think that's important. But all right. We'll talk about that stuff.
I mean, like, we don't have to talk about it directly if he's not comfortable with it, but...
is there any topics you wanted to add on, though?
Really where I see, like, the political future going.
All right, so the political... Yeah, all right. Bro, I forgot how good this fucking Kaluuya with this eggnog is, bro. Oh my fucking God. It's magical.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, and I may have to step off. I'll shoot you a text, actually.
All right,
I'll let you know. Because my cousin got kicked out, so I may have to take him his clothes. Yeah, it's fucking black shit. But I may have to take him his clothes, so I'll hit you. Like, not drive. I may have to go upstairs and give him his... like hand him his clothes outside.
So you might be out for a few minutes.
Yeah. So I will let you know. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and live stream this in 3. Oh, and by the way, so I'm gonna start the stream. We're gonna do the intro. Then I want y'all to talk, and then I'm kind of gonna be silent a little bit, and I'm gonna share it out on social media and everything while y'all talk, and then I'll jump back in with whatever y'all talking about.
All right, cool. That's fine.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh. We are live. What's good, man? How you feeling?
Not bad, you?
Man, I'm chilling, bro. I'm drinking some eggnog with a little something special in it, so feeling really good right now.
Yo, it's too early for eggnog, I swear. Like,
no, it's not, bro. Mariah Carey and eggnog is in right now, bro.
Bro, it's like 78 degrees outside right now.
Facts, it is though.
Like,
but it was cold last week. It was cold last week. It felt like for Halloween. Halloween felt like Halloween for the first time in a long time for me.
Facts.
Like, I actually rewatched Hocus Pocus, bro, for the first time in like 5 years.
Ugh. A girl.
You don't like Hocus Pocus?
Once. I saw it for the first time when I was like 25.
You uncultured swine, bro. Oh my God.
I just didn't care.
I'm actually kind of surprised you've never seen it. I'm actually surprised by that. That's like a Halloween classic. Like, up until like 5 years ago, like 1920, I used to watch it every fucking Halloween. And then like 5 years ago, like Halloween, it was like fucking 80 degrees outside. So I'm like, man, this sucks. Might as well just keep watching beach movies and shit. Like, what's the point of watching? Yeah. But we're not here to talk about Bendu's movie choices when he and how he's feeling. We're here to talk about politics and stuff. So that is what we're going to be getting into. We're going to be talking, as you guys saw, the midterms 2022. We're gonna be talking about the future of politics, a little, little things mixed in. We got our special guest Evan from HIMedia that's gonna be coming in about 2 minutes. But just give me some before we bring him in though. Just give me some quick thoughts on where you at right now politically, bro.
I hate this fucking timeline.
God damn it,
Yo, facts,
like this
bro.
is we fucked up. Like there's no winning in this.
I mean, I've been saying that. That's how I've been feeling. Like, I don't know. I've definitely been feeling that way for a while. I mean, now I think you've seen it recently within the past few weeks. You've seen how where my politics have shifted. I think we'll talk about that, cover that in another stream, where I may do a stream about it later tonight, just to talk about it, because the audience has noticed I've been more vocal on Twitter. So
Yeah, I was out with someone and they were like, "Yo, he's posting some like spicy takes on Facebook."
really, somebody said that?
Yeah,
I love it.
but like you're doing something right.
Yeah, so I'm just like, politically where we're at, I feel like we're at the midterms. Like politics, like where the midterms actually went. Politics is so hyped up, and at the end of the day, it's actually nothing. How like, oh, this big red wave's coming, and it was like just a little trickle.
6 seats maybe, like
Trickle, yeah.
to be what was expected.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But without further ado, I think we should go ahead and bring in our guy, Evan from HIMedia. Let's go ahead and add him in.
I do want to stay. I will stay for the record that the reason that we're not talking about foreign policy or Bendu's Hotep phase
Oh god,
is
I want to unpack that second thing by myself.
is simply because not because
I mean, YouTube will take us down for one.
well, they take you down and then me by association. But I don't let I love Caleb. I love him to death. He's my guy. But you have some dead brain shit ass takes on certain things, my guy, and that's where it is. And listen,
Maybe.
I'm gonna be and listen. I'm keeping it real with you. I'm not gonna like bullshit you or nothing. But like you be saying some retarded shit.
I really don't know. I'll be saying some factual shit, but that's up for debate.
Okay, so
We are welcome to do a strictly debate show one day, but that is not the show today. Because I'm down for that.
I hear tanky. I hear tanky shit, and I just have an aneurysm.
I'll debate. Okay, we'll talk about that in another stream.
Yeah,
yep. We have to bring him on because Matt is a tanky, bro, which is so weird.
Oh,
but Matt
gross! You're one of Red Fash, one of those Red Fash fucks. God damn,
No.
dude, come on.
No, what is tanky?
Jockeying, like, there's a couple different definitions, but all just come down to the definition I think is twofold. One, you jockey for authoritarian governments that aren't part of the Western hegemony, but you're still jockeying for authoritarianism, like Vietnam, China, Russia, a couple African countries, Taiwan, not Taiwan, Thailand, things of that nature.
Oh, not Taiwan, though.
Definitely not Taiwan.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I think that is
something with
a valid definition.
And then the second part of it is a lot of tankies. I'm not saying this is you, though, but I am saying that a lot of tankies just hear America bad. And while America is bad, obviously, we're the fucking imperialist hell state. Just because America bad doesn't mean other country that not America good.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah, no. I think when it comes to imperialism itself, Caleb, you're going to get a little bit heated at this, but like imperialism is something within all of the superpower countries.
Absolutely.
Not just
name one country that Russia has imperialized.
We won't go there.
Name one country China has imperialized.
Tibet.
Tibet is part of China.
Now, because they
You authoritarian fuck.
Tibet is part of China.
Like...
Nah, but in all seriousness,
in
all seriousness, dead ass, bro. Fuck the Dalai
Even if
Lama,
they're
bro.
creating buffer states between them and another state,
My thing,
that's kind of the name of the game, is create the most buffer states. Like
right, and Fair point. And when you take in, I'm using this as an example because it's relevant, not because I want to get into it, but there's a reason why the closer you get to the Russian border in Europe, the less leftists you hear talking about NATO expansionism. Because when you're living closer, the closer you live to an authoritarian country's border that has a 1,000-year history of invading its neighbors.
Oh, you mean Germany?
I mean Germany too.
Germany too. But the thing is, in this case, Germany is not that. In fact, Germany is the only reason fucking Germany is not, Germany is a really good example of like a Western democracy, better than the United States by a country fucking mile.
Germany's a democracy? They can't even have energy without. They can't even have fucking energy without Sleepy Joe telling them so.
They can't. They're energy dependent on Russia, which is
which is why we're in the
which is why it was a fucking fighting tooth and nail. Fucking stop! You always fucking do this shit. You say some dumb shit that gets me on a tangent.
No, because you said some. Look, no offense, you said some dumb shit. Germany is
you
not
believe
a
that
democracy.
the Uyghur genocide is a fabrication? Come on,
fake
bro.
news.
Exactly.
Fake news, but I can prove why it is. Most people who say it is.
Yeah. I'd love to see your CCP sourced research article.
Okay, but to your democracy part, I disagree with that because Germany doesn't have a say in any of its of the important things within a society. Sure, you could be gay in Germany. Sure, you could be all of these socially liberal things in Germany, but the hard things that matter that turn people into fascists, that turn people that the German people turn to for Nazism is the real hardcore, the economic, the bread and butter things, the economic situations.
Yeah, that's not a problem of democracy. That's a problem of capitalism.
Capitalism doesn't breed democracy, so that is a problem of democracy.
Democracy is a system of government. Capitalism is a system of economics.
Bro,
you can have the Soviet Union was state capitalist. You can have a socialist economy that with a democratic government.
Bro, I guess this will be the last point because we go back and forth on this all night. The point that I'm making is that when you're looking at countries that don't have a say in their economic policies or any of their important policies, Germany's basically occupied by the United States. They have, for a country to be a European white country, they have the most U.S. troops there. They have like 30,000 troops there.
Hey.
They have no say. Bro.
Do you think Germany? Because I want to go to Rammstein, okay?
Shut the fuck up, man. Do you think Germany?
Blow up my shit.
Do you think Germany actually has a say in any of their about their own fucking country? Do you actually believe that, Evan?
Do they have a say in their own internal economic policy in terms of like taxes and stuff they can levy? Sure, but are they a mid-sized power that are subject to the tyranny of global corporations? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Valid way of putting that.
Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, America has a history of imperialism and oppression. I'm not saying that. My thing is that the reason why all of these countries don't have the same economic autonomy. Shut up, Chara. One of my chatters. It's funny. The reason why the only other power in the world that has the same level of economic autonomy of the United States is China, is because, to quote Bo of the Fifth Column, it is a international poker game and everybody's cheating. And the fact of the matter is that while yes, America has this history of imperialism, I lost my thoughts because I got distracted by chat. I apologize. I'm just trying to refocus on my point. It is, I think, it is less the U.S. government that takes the direction. I'm sure they definitely do take a more point, but I think the corporations, big business, big money, they are the ones at the root of it that cause a lot of the strife and awfulness in the world. Now, absolutely, there are definitely statesmen and people like that have through their own actions in as heads or powers of state cause George Bush is one, Vladimir Putin is one. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but right. But fundamentally, business interests are the ones that actually cause that push governments to cause problems.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, of course. I mean, you look at how even though Italy just elected their first girl
fascist leader.
Yeah. Who's she in line with?
The World Economic Forum.
Yeah. You know why? Because she realized that because after the whole Brexit debacle and realizing and looking at the fucking United Kingdom and what can happen to a country when you leave
when they choose sovereignty over an economic cartel.
It's better for them, for Europeans, for the most part, especially a country like Spain.
Do you guys know what the original purpose of the European Union was? Not like the shitty far right, far left, like dead brain take. I'm talking about
it's free trade.
It was to intersect all of these countries, like industries and economies together, to basically make it impossible for them to ever go to war again. And this
globalism. That's what it was, globalism.
Yeah, but also I wonder, at least in the case of Europe, that's not a bad fucking thing. And the reason I say that is that trillions of people, billions, maybe almost trillions of people have died on the European continent alone because of European wars. Now, is this the fault of the average everyday European? Absolutely not. This is the problem.
I mean,
but the fact of the matter
was the reason for World War One.
Right. But the fact right, exactly. It's just that. But the fact of the matter is that when you have all of these, when you have the economies of these countries that for the last 2,000 years, give or take, they have been in non-stop conflict. This is the part of Asia, and I call it the part of Asia because fuck your fucking Eurocentrism, calling Europe a separate continent. Suck my dick. This part of Asia had something called the 100 Years' War.
Oh yeah, no, between England and France. Yeah.
Between the Holy Roman Empire and basically everybody else except Spain. So,
and it's crazy to think about that. So
right, and so I understand. At the end of the day, while I am certainly not a quote unquote globalist, I feel like globalism, and plus I feel like globalism is kind of a euphemism for Jew, and that's what a lot of right wingers use it as.
Yeah, it's gotten a bad taint because of certain people, but that's.
I mean, same thing with Zionism. That's.
Yeah, maybe, but.
But let's be real. The only people that were talking about a Council of Zion and shit like that were just fascists.
Were white supremacists.
Right, and it's
110%. You ever read the Turner Diaries?
I haven't.
No, I haven't heard that.
Scary.
Explain.
Scary.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I think that's kind of. But just to go on that point though that you're talking about, and I agree. But that's why I believe more so, and
I wish Side note. I wish there was a way for me to hide my face on the screen. It's kind of obnoxious.
Oh.
I don't know. But I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But that's why I'm kind of at the point now where it's I think the whole free trade thing, while on paper that sounds good, what you just described, sounds good. like in reality, it doesn't work out well for the average working class person now in modern societies. Like at a certain point, maybe that
Well,
worked for the EU,
I
but the country. Well, hang on, wait, hang on.
yeah, continue.
But the countries have been but the actual working class people of the countries get stiffed. So it's either you're forcing working class people into choosing between you either die or live poor. That's literally what you're making people choose, and it's
So
like
then let me ask you a question. Let's say
that's not a real choice.
well, what if there was a third option? And the third option is you you don't have a class of people that own all of the wealth. You know?
No, I'm not.
Because it's like,
bro,
because it's
I'm
like,
not
because here's the thing,
disagreeing.
because here's the thing. That plan of interconnecting the world's economy does actually more likely foster world peace. The problem is that the benefits of that, of like the profits from that, in like the wealth generated from that, and this is where we get into the fucking left wing economics, is belongs to a very small amount of humans, where if that was given out equitably, you know, we wouldn't, the other two things would not really be an option. Would there still be some wealth inequality? There's always going to be some level of wealth inequality, but the difference is that you have a small amount of people that have 99% of the wealth, and then you have the rest of us who have 1% to share, again, inequitably among the rest of us. Because the top 10% of that 90% owns 90% of that 1%.
And I just peeped
Yeah,
some
no,
comments up here. I just peeped some people have been
Europeans
comments.
are forced to exploit.
What?
That's not equitable, though.
I don't know. I'm just throwing comments up because
what's not equitable?
The commenter said Europeans are forced.
Europe is an extremely difficult place to live. Big population and land has next to zero resources. I mean,
but okay, fine. If you want to say that, but my counter to that would be
we live in a global economy. Like that doesn't that's not like that, and that is a very good point as to why nationalism in economic nationalism in that type of is not good, because if you it's like, I know it's a whole fucking meme, workers of the world unite, yada yada yada, but
oh yeah, I agree
No,
with this.
Evan, before you go, because that's a great point. That's a great point. And this is why I've been leaning more into not necessarily segregationism, but different groups of people going on their own path. Because you can't have a workers of the world unite when you have different groups of people on different footing. So that's why I'm saying, like, all the other, like, we can talk about the other stuff that we were talking about the other night, off camera and everything. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is black people,
but
Latino
why do it
people,
along racial lines then? Why do it that way? Why do it among
I'm saying
racial,
for black
religious, or cultural lines?
Because I think for black Americans, like, our issues are inherently black Americans. Our issues are not nobody else's.
Okay.
And I think, Matt, hold up. And I think that, I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you go. My bad. But I think that that's the whole point, that has been distinguished with politics, I would say since Obama came into office. Like, Obama catered to different groups of people specifically and left black people high and dry. Like, our community, specifically black American communities, were the ones most left behind. Black wealth, like, decreased by, like, I forgot how much the exact number was, but it was by a lot under Obama. Police brutality increased under Obama. So I think the situation for black Americans specifically, we need to go do our own things and get our shit together, and then we come to the table with other groups to fight imperialism, because other groups are farther along than us. That's how I personally feel.
Big facts.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we were talking. Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead. I know you were.
All right. So where I'm at with it is more so what the two-party system does, right? And this is why I am kind of moving against our electoral system at this point.
I'm a big fan of the first past the post system.
Valid.
You get rid of that. You get rid of that shit. Like, the two parties actually got to work a little fucking bit for our vote.
Yeah, no, of course. But That's the thing. Like, um, let's just take this past election, for example, right? Um, Democrats use the Black Lives Matter wave, the kneeling, the chanting, all that shit,
Can't take
right?
cloth.
The kente cloth and
God,
all.
that was the only thing
Right.
more cringy than that was Hillary Clinton doing these two things: Pokemon Go to the polls and pulling a thing of hot sauce out of her purse at a Hispanic event.
Oh, there's also my abuela.
Oh
I'm like
God!
the abuela, and I'm
Nah,
like,
Biden playing Despacito, bro. Takes the
Despacito.
cake, dog.
I
Bro.
I heard some dickhead at the New York Times saying Hillary should run again. Fuck that, bro. Listen, I'm a
I will
leftist.
literally
Don't get
kill
me
myself,
wrong,
bro.
but normies don't even like that heifer.
I will kill myself,
This
bro.
is
I
true,
cannot go
but,
through that
like-
again, bro. This Trump Hillary shit again. I can't, bro.
I can't.
ugh.
It's just
Where I was
Hillary,
going with this,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All of these examples of Democrats doing all this performative fucking action for the black vote, and then immediately after, oh hey, fuck y'all, we'll see y'all in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But now's the time where all of your votes matter, and you have to vote like your life depends on it.
Yeah, and they got
You know, it's
people.
the same bullshit.
They got people contrary to the black community's culture speaking out, telling us to go vote. They got fucking Saucy Santana and all these like thought rappers and shit, like as if that's black culture, telling black people to go out to vote and wonder why black people, black men specifically, didn't go out to vote. And then after the fact, bro, think about this. Think about this. The Democratic Party hates black men so much, they're not blaming Russia for the turnout in the midterms. They're literally blaming black men. Literally.
I mean,
That's the narrative they're pushing right now.
If the numbers of black men compared to 2020 was so significantly,
why didn't you do more to get our vote?
Why should we go out to vote for you when you're supporting the police? It's that simple.
Like, okay,
It's that
so
simple.
going back to the elections, right? One thing that fucked me up is living here in Delaware, right? We see a lot of all of our media is from PA, right? For the most part.
Mhm.
So I'll be watching the Phillies and I see Dr. Oz ads, right? And then after that,
can
it's a
you
Fetterman
believe?
ad.
Can you believe how hard they tried to push it, man?
Oh, I totally do, because the Republican Party obviously doesn't stand for shit.
No, of course they don't they don't stand for anything. They stand against a lot of things. Like, here's the thing: they're gonna get they get into office, they get the power, they get the presidency, the Senate, the whatever. They're going to pass some fucking fee shit for the conservative base on like gay issues, trans issues, marriage issues, or whatever. And then they're going to do like 3 bills like that over the course of 4 years. And then the rest of the time is they're going to be circle jerking their rich buddies in back rooms. And that's
Oh yeah, no, of course.
Isn't it fucking odd? Like, I say this unironically. I'm 24 years old. I'm turning 25 next week.
All right.
Joe Biden is the most progressive president of my lifetime, from a policy perspective. I know. Isn't that fucked?
I mean, yes, but like
he literally like the last year of policy, like alone tops everything Obama ever did policy wise.
But like, you understand that he's doing the literal bare minimum.
He just said the happy birthday, bro. Because
Yeah, no,
he actually did. Thank you for the early birthday wishes. Appreciate that. He actually fucking he did the student loan forgiveness. He cut like another check the moment he got into office. Here's something that they don't talk about. They have Biden has reduced drone usage to almost nil.
I'm not buying that.
Dead ass.
They can tell you that and show you their numbers but I don't believe that.
I'm going to stay silent on this issue.
Especially with the Ukraine shit going on right now. You think their drone usage is going down?
You want to know why they're staying silent? You want to know why they're staying silent on it?
They just blew up a pipeline in Germany.
You want to know why? Shut the fuck up, dude. And let me finish. We let you talk. Let me talk.
But you just all right. Go ahead, man.
Oh, this is beautiful.
It's false, but okay.
Yes, good point. Can't really numbers. I get it. And you want to know why they're not talking about it?
Why
it's because you have to. You need to remember that Biden himself, like I've heard little snippets and stories like through like leaks and stuff that he is generally fairly anti-war. One of the like more than not anti-war like us, but more than like most. Again, another point, he got us out of fucking Afghanistan, which is well.
I mean, what it's worth, that was using Trump's timeline.
Yeah,
which goes both ways.
Right, but the thing is that he actually fucking did it because if it was fucking Obama or fucking Bush, because here's the thing, we picked Joe Biden like people.
We're literally about to invade Haiti, bro. Literally.
Yeah, I really fucking wish we just sent the Red Cross or some shit instead because.
Or leave them alone and let them solve their shit on their own. We're the problem. America's the problem.
They're a black country.
I honest to God said let any other country go answer the president of Haiti's call. Just not America, because America's just not America's good at breaking shit. We're not good at building shit. My point.
We're good at building shit.
We're not. No. The American military is not good at government building. It's not good at state building. It's not
our job.
But here's the thing, we weren't in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years because, it took 20 years to win a fucking war. We were in it for 20 years propping up a fucking failed nation state because America has the best, military in the world by statistics. But what we don't fucking have is and we're not good at is being the world's EMT. Which, if America's gonna be in this fucking imperialist, pushy, do all this shit, and we're gonna be in everybody's business. If somebody calls for America and asks for help, don't send and they need aid and shit. Don't send the fucking military. Make a separate branch or something that's just fucking medics or some shit.
Or just stay out of world affairs.
Yeah,
most of the world's problems is directly because of America.
I'm telling you right now. Most of the world's problems originally start with Britain, first of all, not America.
And then
second.
When Britain became the rich man of Europe, but the sick man on the world scale, who's propped them up and took on that mantle?
Yeah, us. But 300. Yeah. What is that? 70 years versus 600. I don't know. But regardless, the point I'm fucking making is, at the end of the and I want you both to hear me. Unless there is some kind of Star Trek Federation uniting of the human race or some shit like that, there is never going to, no country, no nation state, as long as we have the nation state system, is ever going to not be imperialist in some way, shape, or form. If it's not us, it's going to be China. If it's not China, it's Russia. If it's not Russia, it's going to be whatever else.
I understand that, but it's just kind of where I'm at with it.
This is what I have. This is the problem I have with a lot of far left, far right political debates. I get principle. I get it. I'm with you.
This is beyond principle.
But it's not the fucking world we live in. So how do we move towards a better system and a better place? What's the actual things we can talk about and work towards that are actually going to change the conditions within the world we live in right now? We can talk about
not with progressivism. It's not with leftism.
Certainly not with the right wing. That's for fucking
I'm not
sure.
saying no. I'm not saying.
Then what's the other fucking answer, Caleb? Other than
why it's not.
Progressivism literally has progress in the fucking name. Progressives in America want, as incompetent as they fucking are, want healthcare, want bare minimum, healthcare as a right, higher minimum wage, better working conditions, and labor protections. How the fuck, at the very least, does not working towards that not make it, at least in the interim of getting to the system we want, a little bit better?
Okay, so can I jump in here, please?
Yes,
hold on.
Absolutely.
Let me jump in real quick.
No, because you're going to say something stupid again.
No. All right, now I'm definitely fucking going.
Can I just go, please?
Nah. Fuck out of here. Bro, look at what your fucking progressives are doing. They're pushing us into a nuclear war while at the same time doubling down on Biden's economic agenda, which is fucking over the American people, and they're running around spouting propaganda.
Because I'm sure that whatever the Republicans have cooked up is going to be great for the American people.
It's the same thing as the
I don't
Democrats,
care for why they're doing it, but right now they're actively combating that.
Which progressives are you talking about?
I'm talking about the mainstream ones, the progressives that call themselves fucking progressives. All of them are garbage. They're not worth shit. Leftism is bullshit, bro. Leftism is bullshit. That's my spicy take right there. Leftism is bullshit. Leftism has failed the working class. Progressive, whatever the fuck you want to call it, especially in the West.
Oh, so neoliberalism is the answer. Good to know.
No, see that's the dumb shit.
Oh, so economic nationalism is?
No, just because I reject progressivism, don't attribute my mindset and ideology.
Then what the fuck do you have as an alternative? I hear you Debbie
I'm
Downing.
trying to figure that shit out, bro, because right now...
Then shut the fuck up until you figure it out, because if you don't got answers, if you don't got nothing, if you don't... Just like how you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything about...
Shit, though. All y'all saying is
dumb shit because you're... It's dumb shit because you don't have an alternative.
You know, because y'all tell me to go join unions.
This is like feminists saying. This is like feminists saying. Like, don't be a toxic dickhead, but then not offering an alternative to masculinity.
How am I a toxic dickhead for pointing out their failures? Explain that to me.
Oh my god.
How am I a toxic dickhead for pointing out their failures? How am I a toxic dickhead for pointing out that they're joining a line with the fascist in office right now, Joe Biden? How? Please explain that to me.
Because you're lambasting leftism, which I don't know if you know this or not, isn't fucking influencing the country at all. We live in a conservative hell state, dude.
And that's the essence of the problem right there. All you guys do is yell about conservatives all day. That's the fucking problem. Conservative.
No. You got it twisted. The problem is that leftists fucking eat each other, and when we're not eating each other and we're united, the neoliberals and the fucking conservatives team out together and hit us with a fucking hammer like they did with goddamn Bernie in the last few elections.
Yeah, and
Bernie was a male who wanted to be hit with a hammer.
I'm glad they did, because it turns out Bernie's a weak little bitch. Fuck Bernie. Fuck him. Bernie's running around yelling at anti-war protesters right now, asking them if they're paid by Putin. Fuck Bernie. Fuck him.
Can I say my piece?
You know, there was a lot of Americans that were against the idea. It's funny to me how it's like a whole bunch of conservatives are like, let Russia do what it wants, and then there's a whole bunch of leftists that are basically the same. And I think back to the 1940s in America and how there's a lot of conservatives who are like just saying, just let Germany do whatever they want. And then there's a lot of people who call themselves socialists
who said,
saying
this? I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop. Because it's like, are you really saying that right now, bro? You literally sound like MSNBC right now, bro. That you literally sound like Rachel Maddow right now. That's some bullshit she said.
Oh, please. Rachel Maddow wishes she was as smart as me.
She does.
Okay, I'll say this.
I don't know, man. Those glasses make her look pretty smart. I fell for it.
Dude, she is a neoliberal who spouts who don't get me wrong. I'm all social justice, and I think it's very fucking important. But I'd love to hear her opinion on a capital gains tax.
Fair, but okay, you do understand. Goddamn, you understand how much money that we're sending over to Ukraine is earmarked to go back to the DoD, right?
As in
about 65% of it.
As in we're loaning it out.
Not even loaning it out. So a lot of the equipment that we're sending there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Military equipment. It serves a twofold purpose.
Mm-hmm.
This is A, because some of this equipment hasn't necessarily been tested out in a combat scenario, such as this. We get to test out HIMARS missiles, that sort of thing. Right. To see how they deal with Russian targets.
Right. You know, so the DoD being an extension of the military-industrial complex makes sense.
Yeah. So 65% of the money that we're sending over is reimbursing the DoD.
Right.
And then we're also using our services pro bono to gather intel on Russia. That's your Starlink satellite type stuff. the amount of money that
Starlink is actually interesting to me. Aside from like just to put the Russia stuff on a pin at the moment, the Starlink stuff's kind of interesting to me because that might actually be a way that like we can actually get like decent Wi-Fi to
it's
parts of the country.
Interesting, but
I will say Elon Musk fucking
Wi-Fi.
over the DoD the way they did is going to. I think I would not be surprised if the American government started developing their own version of that for the military, and then further down the line, that opens the gateway to turning internet into a true utility and making.
I mean, the internet was originally like internet GPS. That shit. It was originally like military technology.
Yeah, no, it was made by what was that actress's name who designed the technology based for.
Allegedly Al Gore.
It wasn't Al Gore. It was
I know.
Hedy Lamarr. That's who it was.
But where I'm going with this is like, the money we're sending over to the Ukraine isn't really going to the Ukraine. It's going to us, and it's kind of a weird switching of the hands. And then you also look at how our
we're giving them we're basically paying for the equipment that we're sending over there. So we're not giving them money to do stuff with. We're just paying
ourselves to give them money or give them equipment.
So the money we're investing is not and that doesn't sound like out of the ordinary.
It's not that it's out of the ordinary, but it's more so just like when you understand kind of how much that money is invested here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that Flint for we're going on 6 years doesn't have clean water, like
that's a black town. They don't care, bro. They don't care.
That's exactly right. And here's the thing.
But it's like I'm not against the war in Ukraine.
Here's the thing, Matt. I understand where you're coming from. I think you felt this talking point is a conservative talking point when it comes to. So, for example, when we wanted, and I don't say that as an insult. A lot of lefties and liberals fall into this as well.
Well, to be quite honest,
mm-hmm.
When you look at Marxism and socialism,
we can afford to do both.
Economically,
here's the thing: we can afford to pay.
And socially conservative.
We can afford to pay for equipment to send to Ukraine, and we can also pay to fix Flint's water pipes. We can pay for university. We can pay for these things.
I see that you can do both, but
we shouldn't be doing the first.
The problem, no, it's not. No, we can do it all. The problem is we choose to do one and we choose not to do another. That is the issue. To me, it's less of an issue on like funding and more on morals. I think it's a good idea to bend over Russia and get fucked for being imperialist fascists.
I honestly this is a hot take. This is a black take, in all honesty.
I'm sure you have the exact same opinion of America's invasion of Iraq. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a bunch of Slavs killing each other. Like, why do I care? They've been doing this for thousands of years.
That actually wasn't going where I was. But you know what? I understand the problem.
This is my perspective because it's like
but
the way motherfuckers were looking at Iraq or Afghanistan or Somalia. Oh, it's these third world countries who don't know or understand democracy, and now all this fucking sympathy, and it's like,
well, it's because they're white.
I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry.
You're 1,000% valid. But the thing is that Iraq and Afghanistan, we were Russia. We were playing the part of Russia. America,
to some extent, yeah, but then I think Russia's also valid because
no, they're not. They're really not. I know I'm being a dickhead here. They're not.
They are.
I'm not pro-Russia, right?
They're not.
Just one principle, right? In '94, when Yeltsin wanted to join NATO,
blood and soil argument. Got it.
What?
The idea that Ukraine is a part of Russia because it used to be part of the USSR, and even though they voted, when the USSR was broken up and countries voted on whether or not to stay or leave the fucking their version of
yeah. What did the Ukraine do for sovereignty?
Voted to leave.
What did the Ukraine do for sovereignty, though? What was their guarantee?
There wasn't one.
There was.
They voted to leave and they left.
The condition was if they gave up.
You mean that thing that he said that he said behind closed doors to save face that wasn't ever actually in writing in any treatise? The thing that he said after the fact.
So we just gave our word and we can say fuck you afterwards. Okay.
I mean, that's literally America 101.
Exactly,
like,
bro.
We did that to the Native Americans 100%. But like that's where I'm saying, like, hey, there's some validity here.
Can I read something real quick?
If Russia stopped being a hostile dickhead, NATO wouldn't exist anymore, right? It wouldn't need to.
No, it would, because
they're
it's a
only
money
a
laundering
hostile
scheme.
dickhead because NATO's knocking at their door.
Well, if that's the case, why does first of all, they're not. Secondly, every country that isn't in NATO that isn't in NATO that isn't being invaded right now that borders Russia has, with the exception of like one or two, I think, has petitioned to join it. Because Russia in that region of sphere bullies and pushes buttons and threatens the sovereignty of all of these different nations.
I understand this. Like, this is the Cold War.
So then why are you doing Russia apologia then?
I'm not.
Why are you doing I understand that the concept of NATO is like the whataboutism and trying to find both sidesism of it. But
it's
the fact
not a both sidesism thing. It's
Can I read something? Can I read this real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. Ukraine and Georgia's NATO aspirations not only touch a raw nerve in Russia, they engender serious concerns about the consequences for stability in the region.
Yes,
not only does
and the
Russia
stability is
perceive
only threatened because Russia keeps trying
and efforts to undermine Russia's influence in the region.
Why does Russia need to influence these other countries?
And uncontrolled
Why do we need to influence Ukraine?
Why does anybody? Listen, if y'all are against America doing this shit, why are you letting Russia do this shit? And plus, this shit was debunked anyways as a fucking like Kremlin plant anyways.
Can I finish reading this?
Not really.
Which would seriously affect Russian security interests. Experts tell us that Russia is particularly worried that the strong divisions in Ukraine over NATO membership, with much of the ethnic Russian community against membership, could lead to a major split involving violence or, at worst, civil war. In that eventuality, Russia would have to decide whether to intervene, a decision Russia does not want to have to face.
Bro, you understand that Ukraine has, for all intents and purposes, been in a civil war since 2013, right?
Yeah, because what was it?
The United States overthrew their government.
No, because Russia has been backing separatists in the Donbass in contest reasons.
Why are there separatists gaining traction in those regions?
Because
Russia, they want to separate.
Because you have a handful of local militias that are crazy and are nationalistic and all that.
Then let them fight. Fucking let them fight.
Right.
I don't care. That's where I'm at with it. Like, I'm not doing Russia apologia.
Oh no, listen, Matt. I'm not beefing with you on this. I understand that.
You're
sentiment.
beefing with me, but you won't let me pull my points up.
Right, because your points are retarded.
They're not. This is literally the CIA director saying this right now. Biden's current CIA director, is he a Putin puppet too? Is the CIA director of the United States a Putin puppet? Because this is fucking his shit on the screen right now.
Yes, because insight into because of course the Kremlin would thinks of it this way. Because here's the thing. Russia,
if we know how they think, why would we push the button to make them do the thing in the first place?
So we can sell weapons.
So we should just let Russia steamroll through Ukraine and rape and pillage their
This situation
country.
would not be happening if this whole situation, if the
Did
United
you guys
States
happen to
left their
see
country
the article that leaked on a Russian site that accidentally went out because they thought it was going to be over in 3 days, and
that's fine. I don't care.
Bro,
Like, let's
pointing out the fact that the United States is the instigator in this. You can disagree
Russia
with
was the
Russia about
instigator.
invading.
They're the ones who invaded a sovereign nation.
Okay.
which is fine.
It's actually not fine. It's actually morally reprehensible. If America does it, I say it's bad, and if another country does it, I say it's bad. Like, have some fucking consistency as a lefty.
What I'm saying is, like,
I'm not a leftist.
I'm not saying it's actually fine. I'm
me.
being a little bit melodramatic. Where I'm coming from is, like, if that happens, we've done the same things time and time again, and it consistently backfires. Like, this is Vietnam. Like, this is Korea. This is a lot of the 80s drug wars that Reagan funded.
Oh, you mean like Vietnam, Korea, where we invaded a sovereign country because we didn't like the type of government that they had put in, and we didn't like what they were doing, and we wanted to control them, and we, a larger nation, invaded a smaller nation, trying to exert our will upon them. So
yes
we were
and no. Why did we invade?
Like, you guys aren't, like, there's no point you can have here other than making shit up that's going to, like, prove me wrong here.
I just showed you a document from the current CIA
Just
director.
because the Russians feel that way doesn't mean they're right.
I'm not saying they're right. What I'm saying is
just because the CIA says that the Russians feel this way doesn't mean they're right. Just because America felt like Iran had weapons of mass destruction doesn't mean they fucking did.
But they made up a lie to say that. The document I just showed you shows that the United States and the people who are making these decisions knew what it was going to lead to, and they did it anyway so they can sell fucking weapons right now.
Not just that, but you understand how much money Biden was paid by the oil and gas industries, right? There is interest for him to have Western Europe dependent on American oil.
They're literally deindustrializing Europe right now, bro, which is insane. They're telling people to go fucking chop down firewood.
Make no mistake. It is very rare that on the international stage, America is actually aligned with something morally good.
I get this.
I'm not talking to you.
Fair.
Yeah, but you're talking to me, but then you talk over me when I try to make my points.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm
saying this out of respect.
I know the
Evan,
points you're about to make, and they're dumb.
I'm not even going to make a point about this right now. I'm going to say we should do a stream, because guys, me and HIMedia have been talking about this. No, it's all passionate. It's all passionate right now. Evan is
I know we need to get to the point. I'm sorry, I'm not interrupting you to be rude. We need to get to the actual domestic stuff.
Matt, we'll text about that. We're going to go ahead and move.
I can't go. I got company coming over tomorrow, and then I'm seeing my grandparents on Sunday. So
Ooh, I feel that. But we're gonna Evan, because me and Evan, we're gonna hash this out. We may still not agree afterwards, but
I'm like this. This is only a fraction of how fucking mean I can be about this shit, and this is like,
I'm ready, bro. I'm
like, as long as you pinky promise you ain't gonna be like fucking stop talking to me after that.
I am not a leftist, bro.
Yeah, you're a retard.
I am not a leftist. I'm not that either. I'm actually very.
I mean, you got the gap in your eyes that might make it work, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Phrenology. You're doing phrenology on a black guy, huh?
Yeah, you fucking lib. You fucking lib. Oh my, see,
that's
man,
not even liberal. That's
see what happens, man. It's an attack. Look, bro, it's an attack on black men. I'm gonna say rest in peace to Kevin Samuels.
Okay, understand.
Yo, fucking all the fucking white women on my TikTok were like fucking crip walking when he died.
I am low key like at the point where like I just want to like, can we? I can't say that on YouTube. I was about to say something I was going to get us kicked off, but I will say, like, can we like put white women in timeout Just all of them.
So
Conservatives.
I love Bill
liberals.
Burr's take on this.
Yes, Matt.
Okay.
Told
I
me
love
about
Bill
that.
Burr's take on this. Like I like, hey, like the shit you've gone through in the grand scheme of things. Like white guys are right here, white women are right here, and then everybody else is in hell. Like listen, don't get me wrong. Women like deal with shit in this country. Like and that's not even up for debate. But like white women though, with it, when you bring in like racial like history and like apartheid in this country, sit down and sit down next to me and take your talking to. Okay.
They're literally the worst. Like, I understand being oppressed on the axis of being a woman.
No. Suburban white women. I want like we like you like
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel
like
like
a
I
carrot.
feel like you have to like designate also by class here, because like broke people
yeah.
are generally more chill. Sorry, Matt. Continue. I'm like Caleb. Like I have a propensity to talk over people.
You're fine. I don't know. For me, it's more so just kind of like, again, like, and this is white people in white America from my experience, especially, and going back to why I don't quite agree with progressives. White people use black talking points and plaster them all over the place.
Yep.
And then not stand behind them.
I'm of the belief that
TYT right now is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
At the end of the day, like it's if we had policies that helped the poorest of poorest among us, like due to the nature of apartheid that has been done to the black community over the course of centuries in this country, a lot of that help would overwhelmingly go to the black community as a result.
Which I can respect.
Speaking on this though, let me paint a picture real quick and get y'all opinion on this. Because this, and I've talked to Matt about this kind of. We talked about this like a little bit, Evan, when we were talking on the phone that night. But
yeah, the Hotep shit.
It's not even some Hotep shit. I want to paint this picture, and give me your guys' thoughts on this. So, I have any of y'all? I know Matt said you have a little bit, but have either one of y'all been peeping the stuff going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now with the Muslim dad and shit and all that with the
Give me a moment. I'm googling it.
There's this guy.
Continue.
He's supporting the Republican governor there, and it's based off of the mindset that, you know, if America was built on principles, and this is his argue about it later. Let me paint the picture. But in his view, he feels that since America is a country built off of religious freedoms, and with a lot of what he says is woke culture and shit going on in the schools right now, this, that, and the third, like how America is now, they want, again, I know you're going to object to this, Evan, but let me paint the picture.
I'm
feels
quiet.
that
you haven't said the fuck shit yet.
Because I'm about to say it, because I already know I'm about to press a nerve for you. He said that, like, basically his like the interpretation he reads when he reads the Constitution about religious freedoms is that America is not a secular country, so that doesn't mean keep your religion at home in public, or keep your religion out of public and in private. He feels that, you know, religious freedom is about respecting religious freedoms in all spaces. Fine. He paints this picture that he's saying that he's voting for the Republican candidate running for governor because she's going to be the one that's pushing back against the sex ed stuff they're teaching kids and whatever. It's specifically about like trans stuff and the normal run-of-the-mill Republican shit they're screaming about right now. That shit.
Dumb shit, yeah.
He's pushing back against that, and that is why he's supporting and imploring Muslims to support and Dearborn to support the candidate and running for governor. Now, go over to Ilhan Omar's district. You have a lot of the Somali community that put her in the office that's been rallying against her. They're not fucking with what she's doing right now. Everywhere she goes, they're, you know, booing her out of certain places.
I mean, she's advocated for bombing Somalia.
Sure, that's not the point. That's not the point.
Yeah, that probably would.
Hang on.
I didn't know that.
You have the Uvalde community that now we saw some of the elections overwhelmingly voted in favor of Governor Abbott, even though his policies basically got their fucking kids killed. This, that, and the third. You're seeing all this crop up. And my question is, and I'll leave another situation out because I know it's going to cause contention on here, but my question is, and my observation that I'm noticing is that all of these groups have one thing in common. All of them, whether they were voting for Republicans or Democrats previously and are now voting for Democrat or are now voting for Republicans and supporting the Republicans, they're allowed to vote for a party that's pushing policies against another group, specifically Black Americans. Mm-hmm. But when Black Americans are supporting a party that is, like, for example, like one of the things I get yelled at all the time, and I've seen some conservative friends that I have that are Black, they get yelled at about, oh, well, if you vote for Trump, like shitted on because they voted for Trump or whatever conservative, oh, you're voting against immigrants, oh, you're voting against gay people, oh, you're voting against this.
I just want to say for the record that those are shit talking points on why you shouldn't vote for conservatives.
Sure.
But yes.
Why is it that these communities are allowed to vote in favor of their people and there's no poo-pooing them, but because Black men don't even go out and vote they're not even voting for the other party, they're just staying home. Why are we blamed by Democrats for their fuck ups right now? And also, why is it that these communities are allowed to foster and protect, but Black people can't even have access to changing their own culture? So that is my question on where my vote, why I didn't vote.
So there's a couple things on the Black men being blamed for it. I want to remind that I feel like that's, and I'll get to it, bear with me, just hear me out, that it is less, I feel like that is more of a statistics thing rather than a racial thing. There very well probably is racial components to it, but I feel like it's less that and more a statistics thing. The reason I say that is I think back to 2016 when 55% of white women voted for Trump, and they were being blamed for Trump winning. So
as they should,
right? And so that brings me on to my next point.
I disagree with Matt on that point, by the way. I just wanted to make that known. That wasn't even like a joke. I'm just saying I disagree with him on that point.
My second point is politicians shouldn't, and this is common sense for us, but politicians shouldn't blame communities for not voting for them. They should blame themselves for not putting forth policies to help those communities.
Agreed.
You know, there's a reason why Gen Z came out for this election in significantly larger numbers compared to prior midterms. More of us are voting age now. I'm about the oldest you can be for Gen Z, give or take a year or two. And by the time, and again by 2024 this will be more. And Biden did student loan forgiveness, and while that is currently being locked up with every fucking thing under the sun, it showed, like, when you do make policy that helps people, they come out. That is what politicians are supposed to do.
Can I jump in?
Hold on, let him finish.
So, in my third point is, my third and fourth points are thus. I'm going to do my fourth point first.
Technically, it's your third point.
I was saving this one for the last, but I feel like it's important to talk about first. And it's not. I want to do it because I don't want to save it to the end. Black people in America are still under apartheid. I've said that repeatedly on this. Neither of you disagree with me. Like, it's just, the reason why Jewish people, Italian people, Irish people were able to come up in terms of
because they all joined in on the anti-black party.
You have whiteness look down at them and say, hey, if you hate these people below you that are at your level,
you are now white.
You are not white enough.
Latinos too.
we're gonna let you in the big club. There's a lot of fucking Cubans who are in that big club because they
Oh no, I'm talking about the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, Latino in general.
I'm not talking about fucking parties. I'm talking about whiteness.
No, I get that, but I'm saying that you have non-white people that join in on the party is what I'm saying.
Right, and that
I'm just making a point. Some people are afraid to mention Mexicans and Asians and shit like that when it comes to it. But I think they're a bigger problem.
Mexicans and Asians be racist as hell.
Yeah, I think they're a bigger problem to the black community right now than actually those white subgroups.
I think that Mexicans and Asians, it gets back to that culture of white supremacy. But not only that culture of white supremacy, the economic war at the heart of American culture. You don't, if you have, black people and Asian people and Mexican people and poor white people all fighting amongst each other, the rich fuckers get to run out the back with all the money.
And I'm going to stop you right there, Evan. I'm going to say stop right there because I know Matt. I know he's been waiting to go. Go ahead, Matt. My bad. I want you to go because I know you've been getting antsy.
It's like I understand what you're saying full-heartedly, right? But for me,
I'm not saying we're in a post-racial society. Far from it. But
I understand that. But for me, going back to what we did in 2020 and how the Democratic Party has taken our vote literally for granted, right?
Yep.
Like Biden, I think within the first 3 weeks of his presidency was just like, yeah, no, we can't move on black issues. I'm like, oh, that's great. So then
he sat down all of the top black leaders and basically said, I'm not doing shit for y'all.
Literally. But to bring this a little bit full circle, we see 2022, right? This past election, right?
Right.
Big, I guess, note race was Fetterman versus Oz, right? As a black person, someone who marched and sweated and stomped and yelled against police brutality.
We don't live that far from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. To see Democrats put Fetterman, who's more cops, versus Dr. Oz, who's the most cops, right? And it's like, which one do I want in my community? I told you guys neither, and I'm still stuck with two really shitty things. You were talking about student loan forgiveness, which is fine. That's cool. It's a step. But it doesn't actually solve the issues why student debt is so high in the first place.
No, absolutely. But it's also like the First Step Act.
Which doesn't do shit.
Right,
it's Biden decriminalizing or talking about how he wants to let go nonviolent marijuana convicted people in federal prisons,
which is almost nobody.
Exactly.
It's like 3 people.
You're doing something, but it's not really.
Here's my thing.
Like, okay, before I finish, right?
Yeah, you go ahead. Okay.
This is the last thing I'll say. So, Republicans, at the very least, you look at the abortion issue, they've won on the way of incrementalism, right?
Right.
Roe v. Wade, 1972?
Mm-hmm.
They said, oh, we don't like
that was in the 60s, 50s or 60s, I think.
No, Roe v. Wade was the 70s. It was like 72, 73.
Yeah.
I remember seeing images and video from the court case, and it was like all in gray, and I'm like, I think 50s or 60s from that, yeah.
But long story short, when that happened, they were like, oh, we don't like this. So what do? They lash on to the conservative Christian crowd, the evangelicals, get close up and buddy with Nixon and then George H.W. Bush in the 90s. George H.W. Bush puts in, what's the name? Clarence Thomas, right?
That fuck.
A little bit of irony. One of the reasons he was able to get in was because Joe Biden basically lambasted a black woman for talking about her experience in sexual assault, right?
Right. It's...
long story short, we knew this was happening since the 90s, right? At the very least, that this is what the Republican Party wanted to do. And yet, the Democratic Party, oh yeah, we're for women's rights, and then
They didn't do fuck
you
all
have-
because they were in complacency because Roe v. Wade was there and they didn't see the coming. Even though I've seen the warning signs coming since I was 13 and discovered politics.
exactly. So it's like you're expecting people to vote when you can't even stay consistent on the issues or set your own terms and limits on how you should go about and talk about these issues.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of where I'm at, and it's like
So the thing is that you said that like at the in valid, but you said at the top that like the First Step Act was nothing. The 40 the student loan forgiveness, which will wipe away the debt of.
I think it does something, and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic.
I also like
on
in
something,
to
but
Caleb's point of helping the black community. If we take the percentage, if we take like that, like the I to be like 20% of the population is black. 20% of 40 million is 8 million black Americans just got a freaking weight lifted from around their neck.
Yeah, no, I'm
And,
not.
and these
I'm
are
not
small. These are
disagreeing with
small. They're
that.
not enough. They don't get at the root cause. Absolutely. But you were just saying, like
'Cause I
how,
don't-
how the Republicans got here through incrementalism. How how are like the problem is that Democrats are the Democrats don't do what the Republicans do, which is find a fucking narrative among people that can't fucking stand each other and get behind it. The problem is that the Republican Party for years up until recently has been able to do big tent politics in a ways that Democrats couldn't, because the Democratic Party is filled with people with democratic values, whatever the fuck those are, which is normally just people with like liberal people, neoliberal people, leftists, people in the
It's
center.
a very broad.
It's a very broad, and the Democrats don't have the same level of coalition. And the problem is that when you are bickering internally about every little fucking like increment, it's the issue, and which is why I am an advocate for things like first past the post voting, which I'm like electoralism is the least effective form of civic engagement. That doesn't mean it's not
100%.
important. That doesn't mean it's not important. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because I treat voting as I registered as a Democrat for the first time in my period. I was a registered independent for most of my life, and I didn't get registered before the primary, but I'm registered as a Democrat now, so I can always vote for the leftist wing candidate here in Delaware. And,
I get that.
And the purpose of that is like you still do community building. You still like build like community gardens. You still do hand out pamphlets and people and like, hey, here's you should buy a gun and keep it in your house, and here's how to keep it safe in case the bumblefuck fuckheads from Slower Lower decide to come up to Wilmington. It's like things like that, like community building, community outreach, community networking. That is more valuable, and you still have to vote. And the reason I say all that shit is because the more like I hate the Democratic Party. I know based off of all of our conversations it doesn't seem like that, but I can't fucking stand them. I can't fucking stand Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, especially fucking Christian Sinema and Joe Manchin. Fuck those cocksuckers.
Oh yeah, no, of course, but it's like.
But I hate right-wing extremism and fascism more, and I would rather keep a impotent, benign dickhead who is going to vote for things that are fucked, but also isn't going to vote for things that are 10 times more fucked if we vote for the right winger. And it is a band-aid while we work within the community to replace the impotent fuckhead with a competent fuckhead.
We're not going to.
That's the point. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, no, like I.
Then
just
why do
on a-
anything?
Okay, I'm not saying
talk
why
about
do
it?
anything.
Why even have a panel?
I'm not going down that level of nihilism. Hear me
You
out.
never hang on, Matt. Before you go, real quick. My thing is, you never hear me out to hear my actual ideas. You just assume I don't have none because I don't want to work within.
Oh
the
no, I
fucking
know you're
fascist
about
Democratic
community
Party.
building co-ops and all that shit, 1000%. But like, you don't, and I know that, and we've talked about it, and I know that. But the problem is that you advocate against the stop guards that, like, the Democrats are fucking awful. And as bad as they are, we can change them from starting at a local level. Yes, we can't change the national party, but we can make sure that impotent dickheads like Carper and Coons never get into office again. That's doable with 10 dedicated people in a summer.
Maybe, but I mean, because I know Matt.
Right.
Hang on, because Matt
Yeah,
didn't finish making his point. Matt, finish making your point. Because I was about to go, but I wanted Matt to finish.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry for being a hog.
I'm not saying that like fuck all or why not do anything, but like you understand that like the Democratic Party does not want to do anything.
No, of course not. They're still under the delusion that the Republicans are still their friends.
They are for 110, for what it's worth, they are. Like the fact that Nancy Pelosi can get on stage and admit to insider trading and nothing happens.
I feel like every politician that does insider trading needs to be put on needs to be sent.
But that's basically all of our politicians.
Yeah. Yep.
Like you understand statistically, like if I was to talk,
they had pressure from every fucking media organization, every constituent, and they still didn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't even vote to disclose at the point of sale the shit they bought.
They don't care.
No.
Like
I like this comment from our guy that's been commenting.
We can't change people, but we can do something. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
where I'm at with it.
Exactly, and that's where like my point of like participate in the least effective form of civic engagement as a stopgap to prevent the fucking fascists from taking away our rights, and then we get the ineffective asshole out and put our own in. That's the fucking thing.
Okay, question for you.
Okay.
Yes, Matt.
This is the last thing I'll bring up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you pay attention to the Florida gubernatorial race?
That shit show. Holy fuck.
That
bitch spent $70 million, bro, and still fucking lost.
I didn't pay attention to every single little detail, but I did pay attention on a macro perspective. And my main things about it which was funny to me, is Florida is no longer a swing state. It hasn't been a swing state in like a decades, but funny. But like, just don't even put in the resources in trying to like.
That's Democratic Party propaganda to get you to keep donating to their fucking.
But like, that's what I'm trying to.
And DeSantis is going to be the next Republican president.
I think
probably,
so.
But you understand that like Charlie Crist was a former Republican, right?
Yeah.
So the Democratic Party for Florida, instead of
D means death. When in a red area.
It doesn't always. If you pitch a leftist candidate, right?
Oh no! The amount of people that like Bernie that voted for Trump and probably still voted for Trump, like it's a huge amount. It's absurd.
Yeah. It's like they don't care. They want a DeSantis presidency. Like it's something to point the finger.
He feels subversive. He feels subversive the way Trump was, but actually competent.
Yeah. And you understand that, like, going into this primary season, there were quite a few Democrats who donated to Republicans because they were far-right Trumpers.
Strategy.
They thought they'd have an easier way to knock them down.
Strategy.
And I mean, it paid off. It paid off, but that was a risky fucking game to play. That's for damn sure.
But that's the game you're playing.
Exactly.
So right. I look good. So instead of putting my own competent person, I'm willing to invest this much to make you look incompetent. What kind of game plan is that?
That's like some Mean Girl shit.
Like,
well, here's the thing.
You don't care.
It's
you don't
because
care.
at the end of the day, the Democratic Party can be as socially left as they want, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing in my opinion. The problem,
bro, the Democratic Party is literally Lindsay Lohan from Mean Girls.
The problem is
home. What's her name? Regina King.
Economics. The problem, fair enough, funny, but the point is
Republicans can get better and play field hockey. Okay, Evan, admit it.
The point is that at the end of the day, like liberals and center left Democrats and center Democrats believe in the bullshit horseshoe theory. Like, they believe that a far leftist is no different from like a fascist.
Which is why I can't work with them.
And here's the thing. You don't you work with them until you get rid of them.
There's not going to be a getting rid of them if I work with them. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're completely anti to everything I stand for.
Ask Paul. You could ask that. Why don't you ask that question to Paul Ryan? Because
if Paul Ryan gives me reparations, I'll vote for that nigga. Straight up.
Good point. But here's the thing. The Tea Party.
And I think we can move. Black people can move them.
The Tea Party did this shit. The Tea Party did this shit. The Tea Party.
Congrats to them.
The Tea Party started small and then worked its way into government over the course of 2 elections, and then when they finally had a large enough caucus, they stonewalled John Boehner's everything he tried to do for like the most like right-wing absurd bullshit, which for the standards of the time, and in doing that and having these types of people in the party and doing that over the course of 10 years, they've completely changed the face of the Republican Party.
Of course. I mean, you don't get Trump without Tea Partyism.
Right. And so it's like,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
And this is why the Republicans are so effective. They hate each other. Nobody likes Ted Cruz. There is not a single human being on Capitol Hill that likes Ted Cruz. But they work with this ignorant motherfucker.
In the head with a fucking what's the fucking drink? With like
Coke.
A canned seltzer.
With a can of Coke. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking beautiful.
Nobody dude. This man went to New York and somebody pissed on him from a higher up in the stands. Like nobody. Yeah.
No.
Nobody likes this man. Nobody likes Ted Cruz. And because but the thing is that they work with this man. And that's just a very small example. Like the center right Democrat, like it wasn't like it's only like it wasn't until Trump was out of fucking office that all of these like they're now resistance fucking Republicans and all this shit. They were backing every fucking economic thing he did.
Evan,
So we need to do this shit too. And then we can smile smugly at Nancy Pelosi when she loses her fucking race and says, "Get the fuck out, bitch. We don't need you no more."
But here's the thing, Evan. Here's the thing, and I feel like, the quote, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. This is the way that I think we should go.
I didn't see Star Wars until I was 17.
Well, The Mandalorian. I'm talking about the TV show. But the point that I'm making is that, the point that I'm making is that, in my personal feeling, not even feeling, I feel like it's not even feel. It's rooted in facts and evidence. All of the resources that we're contributing, to try and fix the Democratic Party and make it better, these could be things to build institutions outside of the electoral system. The only way that you're going to force them to actually move. Why do we get a free lunch program in schools? Because Nixon saw the Black Panthers doing that, and he wanted to take away, their power they had with the community and instituted a school lunch program. We're not we need to be building systems outside of the electoral process. And look, a lot of people disagree with me on this. This is why I'm kind of denouncing leftism, in my personal opinion. And I'm looking at, regardless. Let me finish.
My bad. Go
And
ahead.
and I'm not trying to go into the weeds about China and all these, but the point that I'm making is, even a country, a country like Venezuela, for example, or they're looking at trying to systems, build economic systems like Swift and all of these trade systems outside of the United States. And look, I'm going to speak for Black America for this right now because I feel like there's more of a chance of that happening with Black America than with this like coalition leftist group of all these different groups of people. Like we should be focusing on building our own systems outside of the electoral system, outside of the current economic system, outside of the government system. Like the government, like our commenter was saying
the government has a
earlier,
monopoly on violence.
the government is too corrupt, and that's why I'm telling niggas to arm up. While y'all are not you specifically, I'm not saying you, but while liberals are telling Black people right now to give up their guns.
The only reason
This
I
is
don't
why
have
you
a firearm
guns.
right now is because I'm broke as a joke.
I feel that. Same here, but I got a good ass job now, but I'm about to get me one.
You
But
can get
let me
a,
finish. I'm almost done.
22 Not that this is legal in Delaware, but you can get a 22 for like 200 to 300.
All right,
I'm getting a high capacity.
I'm almost done. I'm almost
7.12, 6.7.
I'm almost.
Right.
Hang on, I'm almost done.
I want to be able to shoot a fascist from 100 meters.
And leftists talk about organizing them along working class lines. But in the meantime, you denounce anybody because you don't like their views. Like, I don't care about your fucking views. If you're willing to work with us to build actual institutions for the working class, I don't care. The whole point that I'm making is we need to be focusing on these like anti-government institutions that libertarians can get on board with, that conservative Republicans that aren't bootlickers can get on board with, and that's what we need to be focused. It doesn't matter. They're Americans. They live here. They're Americans.
They shouldn't be.
Guess what? It doesn't matter.
I feel like level exclusion is only going to kill whatever.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
A lot of Black people, bro, a lot of minority people that progressives and leftists claim to care about, they think more libertarian. They just don't want to say it because there's a connotation being Black and libertarian. Or
You become one of those
the
weird Black
libertarian
guys
is
that
the
only
liber-
date Asian
yeah,
girls.
Or
White guys that only date Asian girls.
The connotation of being a libertarian is being a pedophile and liking weed.
Pretty much.
I mean look, and it's not about that though. It's about the fact that ideas that can get the massive amounts of people on board. I think, and this is why I talk about this guy all the time, Dr. Claude Anderson. He's a guy that talks about, property and ownership. I think for the Black community especially, that is the path for us. Like, and for leftists to come along and say that that's a bad thing. Oh, you guys are just trying to get like the whole seat at the table talk and all that. Like, that's not what Dr. Claude Anderson is necessarily saying.
The Black people will never get a seat at the table because
which is
the
why
entire American system is predicated on Black people being in apartheid.
Yeah, which is why Dr. Claude Anderson is saying Black people need to get their own institutions and property. Meanwhile, you have progressives arguing against that, like everybody saying that is somehow Farrakhan or Umar Johnson. They chalk everybody up saying that as that. And that, honestly, it pushes them just like you push the far, what you got with a lot of people. I keep saying you guys. I'll stop saying that because I don't mean you. I don't think you hold all these views, but even the progressives, like, it's the same concept with like people they call far right wingers and shit like that, and white supremacists. Meanwhile, like, I just find it so funny because Anna Kasparian is now writing articles pushing for more police, basically vindicating why
I saw that article.
TYT. Why TYT is going to be voting for
Fortnite for that dumb shit
for a Republican candidate, and like using TYT is now currently using that as talking points, and I won't be surprised if everybody in their sphere starts saying the same thing. But
here's my thing: why not do both? Because the fact of the matter is that the there's a local government, I think, in either New Hampshire or
I'll say this. I'll give you this. I'm unique on my thought because even people that I fuck with, Matt, about what's that one guy I talk about all the time that you fuck with too? The light skinned nigga. What's his name?
Amazing Lucas.
Yes, he's against me on that. Like, Dr. Claude Anderson is saying vote because they're saying vote, but vote for the people that are in our interest, whether that's Republican, Democrat, whoever, or build our own candidates, whatever. I'm saying stop participating in the system. I'm saying divest from the system as a whole as much as you fucking can.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I think that building your own systems and stuff at communities building their own system, like among community lines, not just racial lines, is good. Like, that's obviously because in a lot of rural parts in America, that's how they function. Like the government, like you like they're like economically a lot. Most rural people live very economically left lives.
I'm gonna throw it up here. I disagree with them, but I'll still throw it up here.
Eye for an eye leaves the whole village blind.
Yeah.
I've moved away from Martin Luther King thought, aside from his anti-imperialism and his socialist principles.
So basically, everything he said before his "I Have a Dream" speech, and
pretty much.
Got it.
I'm not for that, bro.
But basically, what I'm saying is that I'm gonna use some of the things that the libertarians like to say, because it's actually they're actually not wrong in this specific context. The government has a monopoly on violence.
Yeah, no.
The government has a monopoly on violence,
and the military.
There is no even if you had like 1 million people in a small in a small city or whatever, or in we're just doing one thing. Like let's say fucking.
Oh shit! I was like, what is that?
No, it's my fucking controller. I was playing Elden Ring earlier and I had to stop because I lost a 500,000 ruins. I wanted to cry. But don't worry about it. I'm on journey level 10. I'm like almost level 5.
Nerd.
It's fine. But what I was saying is like, imagine if fucking Philadelphia and 10 miles outside the city limits, surrounding area, just decided to like build their own thing, own system, separate from everything, basically seceding.
Oh, they win.
They win.
But
give a gun to the conservatives in that neighborhood, you don't need fucking police. I promise you that.
My thing is, here's my thing. Philadelphia, like, because the government has the monopoly on violence, with the exception of, like people outside of the Western sphere of influence, basically almost the entirety of the United Nations and most of the world, like, if the United States decides to invade Philly at this point and take it back into the fold forcefully after negotiations have obviously broken down. Yeah, there are gonna be some American soldiers that get killed, but like the American military doesn't need to like storm in and take it room by room. They literally
drone strikes. I'm not disagreeing with you.
And I'm not even saying drone strikes. They won't even do drone strikes because they're going to want to keep the infrastructure. You know what they're going to end up doing? They're going to end up doing a perimeter around the city. Nobody goes out. Nobody goes in.
Oh, so they're going to sanction them.
Unless like adequate filtration systems are put onto on the river, like 3 months max, like the people will be starving, desperate, and will either give up or overthrow the people who are wanted and then give up. It's
That's what we're currently doing in Venezuela right now.
Unless like another, and it's not even, and it's not like, say, and it's not like the Berlin airlift, for example, where that's what Stalin tried to do to Berlin, to starve out the West Berlin so he could have control of all of it. It wasn't even like if say like China or something tried to airlift food a la Berlin airlift, they would be entering American airspace illegally to do so. And
technically, but okay.
We live in the nuclear age. Like China wouldn't run that risk and be that.
I mean, fuck it. The United States is running the risk for fucking oil, so fuck it.
The point I'm making is, so long as the government we need, if we want to build these systems outside of the current system, we need allies in the current system to block opposition, to promote laws and policies that will enable the building of our system in an easier way, and again, act as a stopgap for, you know, the people that would want to do us harm.
So basically saying like black people need to become more like Israel.
I mean,
in what way?
That's literally everything. Everything you just described is what the nation of Israel does.
So I should just go into white neighborhoods, kick in their doors, say this is mine now, and
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying in terms of like Israel. It doesn't matter whether there's it doesn't matter whether there's a Republican.
I don't know. I apologize. I don't see the connection between what I said and Israel.
That's literally what Israel does, bro. Israel collaborates with the government, no matter what fucking government it is, red or blue. They don't care. Like, as long as their interests are being met. Would you describe this interest of groups of people? So interest in that community, like Philadelphia, let's say. Let's use them as an example. Like, literally how Israel operates, so they're allowed to exist.
The group of people I'm talking about, by the way, is like leftism, by the way.
Bro, but that's the, and this is honestly why. And look, I said it at the top of the show more as a troll, but I'll explain to you why I'm anti-left, because anti-leftists or leftists do not go far enough. Leftists don't truly understand capital, to truly understand how to navigate and bring about actual tangible wins for the ruling class. Okay. Now, when you look at people with capital, I'll be 2 minutes and I'll let you go. When you look at people with capital and you look at how the capitalists run shit, I'm saying take notes from them niggas, see what works for your community and what doesn't. But overall, look at how, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. And once you win, do what you want to do after that. Because at the end of the day, especially for black people, we've been trying to play it by the conservative game. You see what happens to the people like Candace Owens when they step out of line. You know, she's right now being scolded by her boss right now for saying shit against his community. We've tried it against the progressives or with the progressive rules. We've tried it with the liberal. We've tried it with everybody's rules. It's time for black Americans to say fuck other niggas' rules and we're going to go by ours. That is the only thing I'm saying. That is what Israel did. I'm not condoning what's going on with the Palestinians. I think the Palestinian struggle is very similar to what black Americans are going through. Malcolm X talked about this all the fucking time. But, however, that being said, black people need to understand where their interest lies and move accordingly, because every other group in this country does the same fucking thing. And that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So, all right, my points of interjection, right? You brought up the Tea Party movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the left Democrat equivalent to the Tea Party movement?
I would say like AOC and all them.
Occupy.
Okay. I mean, AOC, they were birthed out of Occupy if you really think about it.
Yeah, of course. But
because at the end of the day, it Occupy itself was a rejection of
neoliberalism.
Of neoliberalism, yes. To be clear, when I say neoliberalism, I'm talking about like
the actual structure.
I know what you mean. I know you're not talking about
the economic structure of neoliberalism.
Like Ronald Reagan is a neoliberal. What's her face? The British
devil
bitch
himself. Margaret Thatcher.
Thatcher. I always forget what her fucking name is. Yeah, her.
Doug, when Margaret Thatcher died 6 years ago, you remember how like when the fucking Queen died, people were like we're at that soccer game. Na. Liz is in a box
in joy because like
it was great. People when Margaret Thatcher died, they said na. Maggie's in the mud. Yo, the Scots and the Irish couldn't stand that bitch, and they shouldn't. She tried to take the like voting rights away from the Irish.
Of course. I mean, Ireland was really Britain's first conquest.
What's this like weird like religious shit here? God marked Cain after he killed his brother, so no one would kill him, but we would know his crime. An eye for an eye was a king's lie. The king is a complete propaganda from the Vatican. What the fuck? Like, I mean, what does that have to do with what we're saying?
No, she's agreeing with you. She's agreeing with you.
But Okay.
I'm
Back to what I was
I'm so
saying.
sorry. I'm tired, and I'm not seeing how that's just relating with what I'm saying.
I know, because you're on fucking atheist brain. Shut up, Evan.
Can I get back to what I was saying?
Yeah, Matt. I'm sorry.
You're on
Occupy
me and Matt.
and-
Me and Matt was on CPT coming to the stream. You're on APT whenever it comes to anything religious.
What's APT?
Atheist people time. Atheist people time.
Hey.
Oh,
I
Christian
don't-
people time. I got it. Okay.
No, color people time, because me and Matt was late getting on the pod. Getting on the stream. You're on APT. Atheist people time. It's different.
Dog. Can we just do one? I'm so sorry, Matt. I just need this. I need to get this off my chest.
This Matt's used to this, by the way. Our friend group interrupts him all the time.
Being friends with you, I completely understand.
Our whole friend group makes Matt wait to make his points. It's just it's an American pastime at this point.
Everybody in
Just
my
make
friend
Matt
group's
wait.
aggressive like me. Cause you gotta be. Like how the fuck? Like everybody in our friend group's like this bad. How the fuck are you gonna be friends with people like us and you're not gonna be a dickhead and talk over people?
You talk like a New Yorker, though. I will say that without the accent. You're like a
too
New
fucking
Yorker.
nice. Yeah, he's not from New York. He's too fucking nice to be a New Yorker.
No. Anywho, so the point I was trying to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Occupy movement and the Tea Party movement came from the same rejection of the whatchamacallit, the recession bailouts.
Yeah.
That's what it was over, right?
Mhm.
Who killed the Occupy movement?
Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like,
the Tea Party did, wasn't it?
It was incremental hits where basically I think they had some like fucking like person dressed like a cop.
I think while the Tea Party had some, outside of their like super fanatical right-wing bullshit, they had some like tangible things that they were talking about from the libertarian aspect. Like if you talk to a libertarian, like a real one, they eventually like didn't fuck with the Tea Party because they eventually just converted to your run-of-the-mill conservative bullshit.
Like theocratic fascists and shit like that.
Yeah. And that's how I get that. But go ahead, Matt, continue.
but yeah, no, the Democratic Party is what killed the Occupy movement.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party.
Democrats are
liberal
conservative.
media.
By the world standards, they're conservatives.
But it's like you see how the Republicans were able to latch on to a lot of this, inject their own bullshit into it, and create the Trumps and the Ted Cruzes and Marco
DeSantis.
Rubios, who now have the DeSantises, and it's
AKA Baby Trump. That should be
yeah, like
Yo, like dead ass. I'm gonna call him that from going forward.
no, but it's like
You better
one of
credit
those
me,
things
bitch.
to where like
Oh yeah, like give credit where credit is due.
if
How you? Yeah.
for me, it's like I'm supposed to believe in this theory of incrementalism.
Yeah, hold up, man. I'm sorry. Cindy said so in an earlier comment. She said, "Are gypsies colored? I'm colored." She was like, "We're off white."
Hey, look, I empathize with the Romani gypsy plight. Because,
What are
like,
gypsies? I don't know what they are. I know we talked about them in
Gypsies
school.
are the Romani people. The Romani people are a people that, we don't have great anthological records of how they came to be in Europe, but they have been in Europe essentially for going on like 2,000 years, so like 1,000, 2,000 years at this point, and the entire time, like they have had to constantly be on the move because racism and shit, and like
Oh, so they're the niggas in Europe. Oh, you welcome, Cindy. You welcome, Cindy.
Basically,
And Cindy, welcome to
that's
the
basically
cookout.
it. Like, if you ever like, and both of you promise me this. Next time you hear some self-righteous fucking European talking shit about, like Europe's so racist, America's so racist, America's so this and that and that. I'm like, ask them their opinion of the Romani people.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, and that's one. This is-
Ukraine, the war shit aside, look at how they was treating the Africans in their country.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. The Ukrainian fuckers are racist as shit. Like, my God.
Hence why I don't care about them getting bombed.
Right. My thing is here, and just to touch on that, just so I can make myself clear, because I don't
Yeah,
think I did.
thank you. That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah. My biggest
the
problem.
fact that
The Ukrainian government is like no saint, especially with its treatment of minorities and shit, obviously. My thing is that
No, I think that's a European thing. I'm not. It's not even about Ukraine.
It's absolutely a
That's what I'm saying.
European thing. It's absolutely
even in Russia.
European thing.
Look, I'll admit, even in Russia, I'm not denying that.
Yeah, no. My thing is that I view Russia as a fascist invader here. That's just, just to make clear what my point was, because I don't think I ever made that actually clear during that part of the discussion. But the Romani people were the Romani people are basically the black people of Europe and have been treated.
I'm gonna cut you off. I gotta cut you off again. Go ahead, man.
Sorry. Oh my God, you still haven't finished your fucking point. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, like it's.
He takes us on these fucking epic journeys, bro. Get to your fucking second. Now, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ, I talked the least.
I love you, man. I love you.
Never mind. But yeah, no. During the Holocaust, one thing that gets whitewashed is the plight of the Romani people during that time. They were killed just about the same as the Jews, in the same fashions, and that's something that this is a little bit of a spicy take. The Jewish community has done by design, and it's the same reason why we don't talk much about Imperial Japan and what they did in World War II to the Korean and Chinese and
the thing is that I think part of the reason in America at least we don't talk about it is because American soldiers weren't going into Pyongyang and liberating the city from the Japanese.
Even then we knew this kind of stuff was going on, and
America was okay with it. America was okay at this part with the Holocaust. The reason why we couldn't be was because soldiers came back after seeing that shit and the actual effects of it, and it was there was so much overwhelming documentation on it that it was okay. The fucking Japanese I fucking slander the Japanese government and the nation of Japan all the fucking time for how fucking racist.
I think you and Matt kind of agree with that it's an ethno state, right? Because I heard both.
Oh yeah, no. Japan is a fucking ethno state. Japan's a fucking ethno state, and nobody likes to talk about this shit. It's a fucking ethno state, and it's not okay.
I think that's the last point.
Standards.
That's the only point I disagree with.
Anime, so
that's the only point.
It's like how Israel's an ethno state.
Yes, but that's the only point I
don't like ethno states. They're fascist in nature.
I'm saying you have to let nations develop, and you have to let them eventually move past that. You cannot interfere and inject your own beliefs onto them, because it's going to create people that are going to push back and create revolutionary standards. You talked about the same thing with Iran. I don't agree with Islam. I think Islam is just as trash as Christianity. But my thing is, let these niggas, the reason why they're so entrenched in their values there is because that's all they had when you had people occupying their land, imperializing their land, and that's all they fucking had at the end of the day.
I actually have done some learning on Iran since then, and I've educated myself a little bit more. So I've actually learned to realize that the majority of the country actually isn't right-wing and extremist, but the controlling body of the government is the ones with the power to execute violence on the populace.
But where I'm coming from with Iran is, when did they make this shift?
She's talking about gypsies in this quote.
Yeah, okay.
We have a population between 2 and 20 million. They're so far off on that count, it's not even funny.
Yeah, no, that's an insane. You're off 10 times. That's insane. But
in terms of amount of people, is it towards less or more?
Either or. Between 10 or 2 and 20 million?
Because in both cases that's a tragedy. Because
they're basically saying we don't like y'all so much we don't even care to count all y'all. That's
a discrepancy of 18 million. That's insane.
And I'm not laughing at your situation. Don't take that as me laughing. I'm just saying that's a fuck situation.
No. The Romani people, the Romani people deserve it's like the Kurds. It's why should a culture of people be forced to wander without a home?
I'm not mad necessarily at the Kurds for aligning you know, with the United States and shit like that. But once it becomes clear that these people are just using you while also funding people who are contradictory to your beliefs, at that point, that's where I think the Kurds should start negotiating with Assad.
I feel like
because he's a better option than ISIS.
I feel like the Saudi royal family would roll Mecca over and turn it into a strip mall if they could get away with it.
Oh yeah, they could. They don't. These niggas, like, religion there is the traditional. It's the control. But the reason why I don't focus on them so much is because, given the history of that region, I understand it's like the Middle East is very similar to Africa in many fucking ways.
So
And
if I remember correctly, the reason why Iran and Saudi Arabia beef is, aside from the fact like that they're different.
The whole like Sunni versus what's the other
Shia,
one
is actually because the reason why they're the two most so obviously the Saudi Arabia is has the cultural significance of housing Mecca, you know, the you know, home, you know.
Yeah.
But do you guys actually know why Iran is a culturally significant state to?
I mean, there's a few reasons, but what are
the reason I know is because Iran is a direct descendant. Like you can trace the nation nation founded by the Prophet. Iran inherited that legacy of that. And that's like and they're constantly, and the Saudis are constantly beefing with them because it's like God, what's a fucking good example?
Crips and Bloods.
I mean, the
like one
English and French.
What'd you say, Matt? I'm sorry, you cut out on my end.
The English and French.
Yeah, like how the English had originally some English people inherited because of a relative some lands in France,
or to some degree, the Holy Roman Empire beefing with relics of the Byzantine Empire.
No. Actually, I've got a good Western example for those in chat who would need it. The Byzantines under Justinian being the inheritor of Rome, because the way Constantine split up the empire, but not having actual Rome in the empire
within its borders.
Right. Right. So it's simple to that. It's like an allegory to that. You know, it's like
okay. I mean, I think that's a little
you
bit
have
more
one
valid.
government that has come. We have one state that came to exist because of however states come to function, and it just so happens to have the culturally significant mother city land whatever of another big power that, because of a lot of historical reasoning, isn't within its borders anymore.
But okay, so from a leftist perspective, right? For me, I'm just stuck wondering, after knowing everything we do know about Saudi Arabia, right? Why are we still supporting
capitalism, money?
And this is both parties doing this.
Yeah, because both parties are conservative. One party we have the potential ability to replace with our own. The other, it's a foregone conclusion.
What I'm saying is at this point,
incrementalism. I'm just saying we're not going to be able to, if we want to stop doing business with Saudi Arabia, we need to get 20 leftists in the Senate and 100 in the House.
Here's the thing: we're not going to get 20 leftists in the Senate.
I can tell you one who's definitely there right now. Thomas Massey.
Yo, that's a homie out in Florida that won the first Gen Zer, right?
No, I'm talking about Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey's from Missouri or some shit.
Google.
He fucks with the eco shit that a lot of leftists fuck. He's a libertarian, but he fucks with a lot of the eco shit. He's anti-imperialist and anti-war. Now, I don't know where he's at on social issues, but on those issues alone that have popped up in the House, he's brought up all the time. And look, I don't know how you feel about Gray Zone, but Max Blumenthal interviewed him, literally he interviewed the people walking in the Senate. He talked to Thomas Massey, and Thomas Massey was like, I have reached out to these motherfuckers plenty of times, AOC, all of them, and all of them reject his offer to align with their party. But on Saudi Arabia,
don't fuck with the Gray Zone. They put them in the same category as RT.
that's crazy. But on the
they're just apologists for other authoritarian regimes.
My thing is debunk what they're saying. Debunk what they're saying.
Sure.
That's all I'm. That's my only opinion. If you don't like Gray Zone, debunk what they're saying.
I would. I should, and I can't. But
I have a video since Matt was talking about the House of Sod. I actually have a video lined up if this shit will come up. Guys, keep talking while I pull this up because I'm finding it.
But no. All I'm saying is like, we're not going to get any leftist, anyone who's actually worth something in the Senate, because the odds are stacked against them. You understand that the Democratic Party gets funding from Boeing, Raytheon, whoever.
You were saying that this Massey... I'm so sorry, Matt. You said this Massey guy was good on eco shit. He rejects the scientific consensus on climate change. He implied cold weather undercut the argument for climate change in 2013.
That's cringe.
He supports dismantling the EPA. He voted to repeal the stream protection rule, which imposed stricter requirements on coal mining to prevent coal debris from getting into waterways.
I'm saying this is a guy that built an off-grid crib that runs completely off of green energy.
Yeah, that has not. Yeah,
he lives what he preaches.
Yeah, but he doesn't though. He lives what he preaches against. I mean, if he's pro-nuclear, cool beans, but he's also not great.
No, he's voting against these things off of the basis that the government is corrupt, off of the basis of libertarianism. Now, you may agree with that, but what I'm saying is that these institutions, like the EPA, like all of these governmental institutions, are corrupt. They're not actually going to work in favor of anything pro climate change. Now, I'm a person. I'm not even saying
his criminal justice reform is pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not saying fuck the climate. I'm not one of those dipshits online right now saying fuck the climate, but I'm also saying you can't expect the whole world.
Fine. We just won't be here.
You can't but you can't expect the whole world to just you basically want to deindustrialize the whole world for the sake of climate. Now that you guys are able to afford to do it, all of these white countries and these Western countries are able to afford to convert from fossil fuels. I think the
Western countries should pay for should pay reparations to the global South and help and pay for their industrialization.
I'll say America pay reparations to black people first, then get everybody else.
Well,
but I agree with you.
That goes without saying. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. But so really quick interjection here with the eco shit, right? You understand what the plan is for
Also, this Massey guy voted against the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act.
That's one of the things I disagree with. That's one of the things I disagree with Rand Paul on. Even though Rand Paul was the guy that put through the Justice for Breonna Taylor bill, I disagree with them on it. I get why they're saying it, but at the end of the day, I disagree with them on that point.
I feel like the reasoning is just brain rot.
Welcome to libertarians.
I think it's tribal, but can you guys see my screen right now?
Facts.
No.
Can you guys see the screen? This is so literally we're funding the country that is saying this to us right now.
I'm not.
All right, never mind. I can't play that video because there's no English subtitles, so never mind. I just took all that time to find the video and there's no English subtitles.
Yeah, but dude, I get it. It's you're preaching to the choir. Nobody here is supportive of America giving money to Saudi Arabia.
But basically, the gist of what he was saying in that video was that the United States or Saudi Arabia is a sovereign country. They're not, but they're trying to pretend like they're a sovereign country now, and they will do. This is when the OPEC decision came out, basically, and they were saying we're going to do whatever we want, this, that, and the third. So, and I can't disagree with him about that. I can't.
And America should stop selling them weapons.
I agree.
America
will we?
God, no, of course not. Raytheon would nuke the careers of every politician that suggested.
That's the one good thing about this Elon buying Twitter thing. I've been seeing a bunch of motherfuckers hijacking the Lockheed Martin Twitter shit. And
did you guys see the fuckers that sell insulin that own the patent for insulin,
Yes,
wigging the
they're
fuck
like,
out.
what are they called? Eli Lilly.
Those dirty cocksuckers. That entire board of directors and the CEO deserve to be shot.
Okay.
In
They were in
Roblox.
China. They were in
In
China. What
Minecraft.
happened?
In GTA 5,
In video games.
yes, because I would never advocate for actual.
I mean, they just
Violence.
held a fucking funeral for Takeoff on GTA, bro. Like,
I hate it here. R.I.P. Takeoff, but really,
facts.
don't
But,
make it a fucking meme. Like, come on.
But that's just where I'm like climate stuff. Like, I'm not for deindustrializing. You know, the up and coming industrializing.
No, absolutely not.
I hate using the term third world, but they're just now getting to where we were.
Say global south.
You know, global south.
That's a better, less loaded term.
But especially a country like Africa. Like, I keep telling people this
country.
I keep telling people it should be, and I actually just I just ordered it. It should be. The United States of Africa.
It shouldn't be.
It should be.
It should be. Like, it's like,
that's the whole reason why slavery happened, because we weren't a united country.
United
you take this,
Economic
Matt.
Zone? Yes.
You said what? Say it again, Matt.
United Economic Zone? Yes.
That
United.
1,000%.
1,000% agree, but I think we should be a United States too.
No.
Yes.
Like, you understand that, like, the needs and wants of people in Nigeria are going to be much different.
I think that the African continent should have. And look, I'm not trying to speak.
Like, Africa's the most diverse continent.
Hang on. I'm not trying to necessarily speak against Gaddafi, because Gaddafi's one of my idols personally, like politically and economically. But I don't think he would have been necessarily the right leader to lead it, but I think he was the right person to usher it in.
I mean, it was pretty showy.
But the concept of the United States of Africa, I think, should adopt the states' rights model and truly adhere to it, where the United States doesn't. I don't think there should be a superseding federal, government over the United States of Africa. Like, and I guess that's basically what you're saying, Matt. But because Africa,
you're basically talking about an economic union.
Yes, but still be a United States. I think
you can't be a United States without like, you can have the economic zone, but there's no point.
I want my ethno state. I want my black ethno state. I'm sorry.
No.
You tried that already.
I want it.
No,
give it to me.
No.
With Marcus Garvey's bumbling ass.
Look,
I mean, but it's like, I think that's what. And Evan, I'm not trying to. I hate when
white people.
not even that. I hate when the I'm gonna use woke. I still use that term sometimes, but I hate when the woke
can get bent.
Hang on.
Garvey had fascist ideology.
I hate when the black wokesters use this terminology, but I don't think as a white person that's for you to decide, bro.
Listen, bad ideas are bad ideas. It doesn't matter.
I feel you, but I don't think it's a bad idea, especially for black people. Especially Africans. Africans are way culturally different from white people. Straight up. That's just
Africans aren't a people. Africa is a continent.
I'm saying Africa should be a United States.
Do an economic zone. There's multiple economic zones that function like that are already being built within Africa among multiple nations already.
Kind of, sort of.
I'm saying Africa needs to take
perfect.
advantage. Africa needs to take advantage of BRICS. What BRICS is doing right now.
And they also need to. A lot of those African countries also need to make that economic union and get France the fuck off their backs.
Oh yeah,
bro. It's the fact that, and look again. I'm just throwing this out there. Not to go into it, but just to make a point, everybody wants to point out this, the Chinese economic investments on a continent, most of which have turned out good, some of which haven't. I'm willing to admit that, some of which haven't. But at the same time,
economic imperialism.
But at the same time, bro, I'm not. Look, I'm saying we need to debate this on another stream. That's what I'm saying.
All right, fine.
The point that I'm making, because I want to debate you on this, but I'm also not trying. I know Matt's not trying to be down for like a 4-hour stream tonight. So,
honestly, we'd be wrapping this shit up soon.
Yeah, I was saying we're gonna go 2:15, but the point that I'm making is that I feel that a black ethno state would look different. I don't think it would be like something modeled after what Thomas Sankara was doing in Burkina Faso, is what I'm saying, which was very, in progressive terms, a very progressive government. And I feel like, look, in the communist circles, because a lot of progressives don't even mention Thomas Sankara. I think it's mostly because he was a military guy.
What was his name?
Thomas Sankara. He was the president of Burkina Faso. They just had another coup recently, but he was couped back.
Thomas Sankara?
Thomas Sankara. It's like Sankar,
I think.
Something like that, yeah. But this is a guy that was very progressive with women, uplifted women in the community. He was an eco guy. They planted like a couple hundreds of thousands of trees in the country when he was there. The living conditions.
I heard about this guy. He was the guy that basically was like advancing the
Second Thought talked about it. If you watch Second Thought, you've heard of him. Second Thought did like a whole video about him.
Dude, Second Thought's got some fucking awful fucking ideology, man.
I stopped watching him because he came off as just like another like social democratic socialist to me. But regardless,
I think democratic socialist can be, depending on what the term means, can be valid.
But usually it means cutting out to billionaires.
I want to move to a libertarian socialist kind of government or whatever. But I know I'm not going to get that in my lifetime. So I'm trying to work towards a social democracy as an incremental step.
Okay, so here's my question, right?
Okay.
George Orwell, right?
Yes.
How much of his work are you familiar with?
Animal Farm was quite the read. I've read bits and pieces of 1984, but I know it. I read the Spark Notes on it.
All right. He was a democratic socialist, right?
I guess, yeah.
In name.
During the Spanish Civil War, he went to Spain. He was an Englishman. He felt so emboldened about fascism that he went to Spain and literally fought against, Benito Mussolini and the black shirts, the fascists, right? The fact that democratic socialists now, instead of picking up a gun and fighting, would much rather sit here and say, "Oh,
they would have chained themselves to trees and shit."
I'll give you guys this lip service every 2 to 4 years, and then
run around with their titties out.
Let me ask you guys a question. Dead ass. How is violence the solution?
Violence ain't a solution until somebody come with violence to me.
I mean, considering you said that under a capitalist system, the capitalist system that we have now, the government has a monopoly on violence.
Right.
I mean, to quote the beta male Will Smith from Bad Boys 2, sometimes niggas gotta fight, bro. That's just straight up what it is, bro.
Man, what happened to Will Smith, man?
Jada Pinkett Smith happened to Will Smith, bro. Jada happened to Will Smith. That's what happened.
Man.
Hey, yo, this funny as shit. Why a polar bear white and a grizzly bear brown? Explain that to me. That's what
you know what the funniest part? You want to know? I actually know the answer to this because I went to fucking Conrad and I studied biotechnology and I know this shit. It's so basically, and you guys probably know this too because y'all are smart. It's
basically to blend in with their environments.
Yeah, essentially, and basically all the brown bears in the Arctic.
Cindy said Gandhi had it right. I will turn the only cheek, but I only got 2. Technically, we got 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I mean,
Gandhi was also a
racist and a pedophile,
and a right winger.
But Cindy, I respect
within Hinduism, as far as right wing you can get, it's Hindu.
Oh yeah,
yo, fuck the current Indian government, man. Hang
on. Cindy, I want to say this because I don't want Cindy to think I'm making fun of her. Cindy, I respect your views, but I respectfully disagree. I sometimes feel, like I said, people got to fight sometimes. That's human nature right now, and that's just what it is. It's like
I think a lot of Americans.
At the end of the day, humans always going to be fearful of people trying to steal their shit. That's just point blank what it's going to be. Because let's be real, people be out here trying to steal people's shit. That's just point blank what it is. So, She said, "Leave my fat butt out of this." Ooh, okay. But while I agree with that on paper, like I feel like sometimes reality dictates, where situations go, and that's just from personal experience. I learned like if there were situations where, maybe if I had used a little bit of violence, the situation would have turned out better for me personally. But like if Africa had stumped out, colonialism and imperialism, like nipped that shit in the bud off rip, I think Africa would be in a better situation than it is right now.
How would let me ask you a question. How would the
Oh, I thought you froze. I was going to turn to Matt, but I think he froze.
Yeah. My camera's been doing some fuck shit this entire time down at the bottom here. I don't know why.
It's been like glitching out. It's probably the CIA. They're trying to silence you.
Yeah, I guess. But I just Africa's has so many different fucking people living on it, man.
I agree.
Like you have
That's why I think you guys' proposal of the economic state, I think that's the middle ground for me. I would accept that.
Right, because to have a functioning to have a see that, but even with an economic zone like that, how do you make sure countries comply with the
That's what I'm saying.
standards?
I think culturally, not in terms of like how people practice and run their internal countries.
Take the
Hang on.
Union.
I'm about to explain it to you. I'm about to explain it to
Go
you.
ahead.
Culturally, Africa is vastly different. Yes, I understand that. But this is why I think, and this is the term that a lot of that the ADOS community uses and the Foundational Black American community uses, staying on code. I think that's extremely important for Black people here in America, just as I think it's even more important for Black people in Africa. You have to stay on code if that is going to be the thing you want to do, and which I think what needs to be done in Africa. You cannot have one country doing their own thing economically because that fucks up the whole group. So whether that results in whatever, infighting, whatever, you Black niggas need to stay on code. Basically, is the point I'm trying to get to. Stay on code. Every other you brought up the European Union. All of them niggas, when it came down to, cutting off Russian oil, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, that decision that was to be made, they all came to that agreement. And motherfuckers that Poland, or I forgot what country it was, but they were like, well, 65%, 75% of our energy runs. They said, we don't care. You're going to abide by this. You know what that country did? They abided by that shit.
Germany?
All of them abide. Germany sat back and watched the United States blow up their own fucking pipeline when they were about to renege on that, bro, and didn't say shit. So yes, all of them are agreeing to this. When white people, when it comes to their shit and stand on code with their people, they stay on code. And other groups stay on code with their people. Black people worldwide are the only people that don't. You got some motherfuckers that think they're not Black. That happens down in like a lot of the Caribbean countries, like the island nations and shit like that. Like a lot of people don't think they Black. Some Black people, they want to go into their own, religious shit. This is actually my critique of Malcolm X. I think his Islamic faith and Martin Luther King's Christianity is what held them back from what they really could have, the force they could have been.
I agree.
For Black
I don't
people.
think Abrahamic religions are friends to Black people
at all. So that's.
I mean, faith in general holds back the human race's progression, regardless.
I mean,
maybe that's a good argument. That's a good argument. But I just want
specifically speaking, the slave trade was both a very Christian and Muslim thing.
Yeah,
1,000%. It was conquest.
1,000%. Like if it was like the Muslims traded slaves back during the golden age of Islam. That was a huge fucking thing.
The Arab slave trade.
There's still some going on now. Like
Umar Johnson gets called
Umar
Johnson gets called a racist for bringing that up. He gets called a Islamophobe for talking about that.
You can find videos of slave markets in northern Syria online. It's awful.
Not just northern Syria, but like Saudi proper in Kuwait.
Yep. It's legalized slavery.
No, Saudi Arabia is a modern slave state.
Who's in northern Syria right now?
I'm not up to date with that shit.
ISIS.
That tracks.
funded by the United States. Literally,
I mean,
there was this. I was watching this one video.
I
Of this,
don't know. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I mean, I know they got funding early in the days, but like I don't know if they're still getting.
But
like,
even if we gave them funding early on, like
no, we're still funding them. Turkey, and the United States. The United States is literally in the fucking.
Oh, so because Turkey's in NATO, the United States is funding. Okay.
This is a NATO effort. This is a NATO effort that they're doing right now. You literally have the United States over in the oil fields right now, still in their oil. This has been going on since Obama, basically. Like Trump told you already what it was. We're in Syria for the oil.
I don't
the
know
first thing, the first thing Biden did when he got the first thing Biden did when he got sworn into office,
because we're at the 15-minute mark almost.
Yeah, the first thing Biden did when he came into office was started stealing the oil again. Well, continuing it. That was his first thing he did when he got into office. So.
American goons are gonna do goon shit. You like obviously. But, I mean, I don't know.
But I'm saying you have Syria, whether you like the Assad government or not. Syria was literally the most progressive country in the region, even more progressive than Israel, and that's a fact.
That doesn't say a whole lot considering how Israel is.
No, the fact that you have
Israel's a theocratic.
Okay, there's Tel Aviv,
ethnostate.
And then there's Jerusalem.
Yeah.
No, and I hear what you're saying, Matt. I hear what you're saying, but the point that I'm making is you had women walking around in whatever they want to wear. I'm not saying that's like that shouldn't even be a bar, but I'm saying women had more right. They were like literally, and I'm hearing this from Syrians like that live there. They're saying like Syria prior to the war, prior to when ISIS and all the religious nut jobs took over in the north and all that jazz. Syria was like culturally a lot like the United States. The United States came in and started funding the conservatives in the country.
The Wahhabite groups.
Yeah.
Russia.
I mean, okay, so going back to even the Russian thing, right?
If Russia's siding with the government, how are they funding the conservatives in Syria?
I wasn't talking about in Syria.
Oh, you're talking about in Ukraine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the Russian narrative, right? Because you did.
So you think the ethnic Russians in the eastern part of Ukraine are more conservative than the western ones?
No, I think that a big country is funding groups in a smaller country for pretext to invade later on.
Make a statement here.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so historically speaking, right? Why did Vladimir Putin originally get into office?
Because they hated Yeltsin so much.
Because Yeltsin
was literally a puppet.
the shock because of the shock doctrine was a fucking failure in Russia and didn't actually fucking what was it, Kissinger or something, like whatever, like whoever the fuck was the person who like championed that shit. I think it worked for like the countries it worked for, but they did like America, like the fall of the Soviet Union and the rise of Vladimir Putin, like America owns a whole bunch of the blame, and I think the former and just the fact of the oligarchs, like the former high-level ranking party members in Russia, formerly the USSR, were also to blame. Like when
but like we enabled them, and like we
literally like you were in charge of transportation. Great, you own all the train lines in the country now, without even thinking about like what the fuck that would entail in
credentials or anything,
without even like materially doing the fucking the way the United States
a Afghanistan warlord type of situation in Russia, basically.
Yeah, right. And it's like the way the United States treated Russia in the aftermath of the Cold War, like is directly results in fucking Putin's rise. Like,
but if you talk to any Russian in that country, they will tell you that things got better when Putin comes to power.
For a time.
They will tell you that.
But wealth inequality continued to rise. Working conditions either didn't get better or got worse. Amenities that the Soviet Union did offer, like prenatal care, free prenatal care and child care, like a free healthcare system, things of that nature. That shit went away.
They still have. No, they still have.
Okay, so can I?
No, they still have that. They still have free healthcare in Russia.
Can I get back on track to the points I was making more so?
Yeah.
Fuck your points, Matt.
We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. This shit's done.
Okay, let me say
All right,
this.
guys, thank you for tuning in to the
You guys are fucking fun.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
To bring it all back around, right? So we came to the conclusion that the rise of Vladimir Putin is directly tied to U.S. involvement in Russia, right?
Oh, 60% of it, yeah.
Okay, so let's look at Iran, right? What was the direct cause of
Mossadegh, the
of
overthrow of
79?
Mossadegh.
What'd you say? Sorry, I didn't
What
hear
was
you. 'Cause
the
Caleb
direct
was running his
cause
mouth.
of the revolt of 1979?
The overthrow of Mossadegh in '53.
I don't remember
Exactly.
the top of my head, so I'm going to go with that. I'll just take you at face value.
Yeah, no. So in 1953,
That was the Dulles brothers that did that too.
yeah, because the British realized that
British
Iran
Petroleum, BP.
had nationalized their petroleum. BP
I knew
wanted
that
to-
story. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm caught up.
Even the mainstream media admits this.
Yeah.
And then they put up the I think a puppet government for the British.
Yeah, but
and then what?
Who did what specifically? What did he do specifically? That's so funny.
He privatized the oil.
He literally tortured the parents of the Ayatollah, the future Ayatollah. So you literally created the radical that you now hate. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, and
then going
15 years
with
later,
it
you
is
get
like
a woman.
U.S. intervention, regardless, always seems to backfire.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
I would say that like it hasn't. I don't think it's backfired so far in some things like Ukraine, but certainly in the Middle East, absolutely. Because
I mean, Ukraine's a brand new thing. Give it
you can even go
5-10 years.
You can even go to Latin America. You have a country like Venezuela that, for the most part, is doing most things right by its people, and they still get shitted on as this fucking authoritarian dictatorship. It's fucking insane. Like, what dictatorship do you know? They call Venezuela a dictatorship. What dictatorship do you know where the president of the country, the person that was voted in, allows the opposition to run around and claim on the world stage that they're the actual legitimate government of the country? What dictatorship do you know allows that? What dictatorship do you know allows the opposition leader to stand outside of the presidential palace with a bunch of people trying to turncoat military personnel? Oh, like what? That's where I'm like, that's what really
for me, I don't really give much thought to. I haven't given much thought to Venezuela since Trump was in office, but like as far as the I look at say the Ukraine situation. I look at like the Middle East. Take any of the Middle Eastern situations, like. I think the biggest difference between the two is, and I like this in this if America is going to end up putting its grubby little hands in everything, which they're going to whether we wanted them to or not. I gotta be honest. I'm like let them give like the side we're supporting fucking weapons if we're going against another fascist thing.
Those weapons.
And also the difference is that there is a sovereign government that already exists that, despite what Caleb might say, is its own and wasn't a paper tiger created by the United States like the Afghani government was.
But and
we also didn't go into Ukraine and break the shit down. Like the Middle East is just the entire Middle East is just,
bro, it is
an
a fact that
there were more
American corporations in Ukraine than Russian. That is a fact, bro.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
I'm not surprised. American corporations love to dodge taxes.
But it's one of those things to where, like, you're risking a World War III scenario because you want to pad your profit margins.
It's not there.
At some point, you have to realize that, like,
you can simultaneously be doing something morally good and be, it's like I said earlier, it is very rare when America is exerting its influence on the foreign stage, and it is doing that and morally right.
On
you
that
think
note,
this is any
on that
different?
note, I agree with this comment wholeheartedly.
It's all about trying to prevent the inevitable. The U.S. no longer is a superpower. We have entered a multipolar. Yeah.
I mean,
That's one thing that
I mean,
we have
I
to.
don't disagree that I disagree that the U.S. is not a super. There are two superpowers, U.S. and China.
3. I'd say Russia's there.
Russia's not.
Russia's there. India could become there.
Listen,
I think
Russia
under Imran
is
Khan,
not a
Pakistan would
superpower. If they were a superpower, they would have trounced Ukraine in 3 days like they planned and then gloated about it on the world stage.
I mean,
that was never the mission objective, though.
Yeah.
If you talk to any of the Russian military, that was never the mission objective.
Their mission objective has changed every 3 days since they invaded.
No, their mission objective has been the same since the beginning. Their mission objective was the mission objective was to carve a land bridge going to Crimea, which they've done successfully.
Okay, then why are they still in the fucking country?
Why are they still?
Pull the borders back, secure the land bridge, and stop fucking raping and pillaging Ukrainian.
Because the West is still sending them weapons to bomb the Donbass region.
Yeah, because they invaded a neighboring country.
So what was the excuse for them bombing the Donbass region before Russia even got involved?
What was the excuse for them bombing
bombing the Donbass region where they killed 14,000 people, most of whom were civilians? What was the excuse before Russia invaded?
I don't know about that civilian number, but I will say that they did bomb it because they were fucking separatists shooting and attacking.
Separatists who did not support the government that they voted for being overthrown.
All right, then
my whole thing is
should the Confederacy have been allowed to secede from the Union?
You're talking about, see, that's a different, see, you're making a false equivalency. You're talking about
one group of land trying to secede from a mother country.
I'm about to answer you. No, that's not as simple as that. One group seceded because of slavery. The other group seceded because they did not want to be ruled by the government that was coming in power. Basically, they didn't want to be a fucking patsy to the United States. That's why they said, no, we're not accepting this. Well, you need to go talk to the people from the Donbass. I've had correspondence with people that are from there that have said this. Bro.
My whole thing
that's what I'm trying to say. Like that's the part of the equation that people don't want to admit. Is that and that's what
I'm doubtful. I don't think that's true.
That's what the document I showed you earlier, the full document was saying as well, that you have the country's divided. The eastern part it's not even that they want to be part of Russia. They just don't want to be part of the West. And the western part doesn't want to be part of the East. They're completely polarized. They're literally one of the most, if not the most polarized countries in the fucking world. And what did the United States do? We're going to force them into the Western sphere.
Okay. Let me engage this nonsense for a second. Let's say that these two regions, they're allowed to secede. Why the fuck is Russia in parts of Ukraine that aren't in there?
Why was Russia before all this went down, before the invasion went down, saying, no, we're not going to make you part of Russia. You guys need to go work out your shit, and we're going to do the Minsk I agreements. And then they had to do a second one because Western Ukraine, the government in charge under Poroshenko, kept breaking the deal brokered by the Germans. They kept working with the United States to trump the Minsk I and II agreements, and now Poroshenko's coming back around saying that, oh yeah, we never meant to abide by the Minsk agreement.
You mean the Minsk agreements that Russia kept that broke out the gate by continuing to fund separatist groups in those regions?
Because the Ukraine broke
it by
bombing them. That was the deal. You have to stop bombing the Donbass region. Ukraine never stopped doing it.
Oh, so America's right to fund Al Qaeda then?
Bro, what are you talking about?
I mean,
I'm being a dickhead here because
they were. You're just being ignorant because that's not.
I'm not being ignorant, dude. You're just you're analyzing this through a worldview that you want to be correct. That's not.
I'm analyzing about a worldview.
You're trying to make an equivalence between Russia. You're trying to frame Ukraine as the aggressor. They're not. I'm not going to let here. I'm
not saying they were an aggressor against Russia. I'm saying they were an aggressor against their own fucking people.
Okay, can I jump in here?
Go ahead, man.
For me, it's more so just this is very eerily similar to Vietnam in the sense of hey, this group of people, doesn't want to be associated with this government and they want to break off, they should be within their rights to do so, and we shouldn't tip the scale one way or another. I think just by that alone, history, time and time again, shows when we intervene, we kind of create another problem 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
I want to remind
Like-
I want to remind you both that that when Russia first invaded Ukraine, that their goal was to surround Kyiv, which was not in the two regions separate.
Their goal wasn't necessarily to surround Kyiv.
Their goal was to take over Ukraine.
No.
Yes.
Never their stated objectives at
That
all.
wasn't their stated objective,
Even
but there were
even
backdoor
internally.
documents. Hey, listen, if you want to
internally,
use
that's
those
not what
CIA
they're
documents,
saying.
then
Oh
let's keep
my
it 100
God.
and like use the fucking ones that are saying that internal Kremlin document, like documentation that was leaked to the CIA, was talking about how they wanted to take over the entirety of Ukraine because of the natural resources Ukraine had at its disposal. It is literally called the fucking breadbasket of the world. There are now countries in the global south that are dealing with famines because fucking Russia
Because
has
the United
blocked,
States and the
has
West won't let
blocked
them farm their
fucking
own land.
shipments
That's
of wheat from fucking Ukraine to these countries. You
The
can
United
go
States
all
and the
day
West-
long about
the
American
United States-
imperialism. When
the
Russia
United-
does the same shit, it's not okay.
The United
Don't
States
be a
and the
fucking
West-
hypocrite, dude.
The United States and the West will not let other countries farm their own fucking land. That is a fucking fact. Why does Africa need
That's
food
where
from
I'm at
fucking
with it.
Europe, bro? Why the fuck does Africa need food from Europe? Please tell me that. Tell me that, please.
Because
I'm waiting. Tell me that.
because the northern half
Did Russia do that too?
because the most of the northern half of Russia is fucking barren desert, and the
I asked you, why
and-
does Africa have to get their food from
I'm
Ukraine?
explaining it to you, and the southern half of Europe has had European monocrops pushed on it because of Western imperialism for years and centuries that has killed the fucking soil because and prevented the cultivation of natural fruits and vegetables of those areas. There are parts of Africa that are barren because of the British Empire and the French and the Swiss and the Germans, not the Germans, the Dutch. That's the Dutch. That's who it was. The Dutch fucking forcing these monocultures along with everything else they were doing and killing the fucking soil because there wasn't enough moisture in these parts of in the parts of Africa. And so now, because of American imperialism and the violence that are done to these countries, are now dependent on imports of food from other parts of the world. And so, and at the end of the fucking day, we can talk about like all of the different like muddied waters and all these different things. The fact of the matter is a bigger country with a history going back 1,000 years of hostility and imperialism through all its different iterations to its neighbors invaded a smaller country. And for me as a fucking leftist, I'm not okay with that. I wasn't okay when America did it. I'm not okay when Russia does it. I'm not okay when China does it. I'm not okay when the fucking UK does it to the fucking Falkland Islands. I'm not okay when any big, powerful country, Western or not, goes and bullies its fucking neighbors just because they can. And I'm tired of fucking leftists who are just so America bad. And which it fucking is, but don't ever think, hey, that's fucking bad too. We can dismantle dismantle American imperialism and the West's boot on the throat of the world and the human race, but we don't have to fucking do apologia for other fascist powers.
I'm not saying we're doing apologia here.
What are you doing?
The fact that
you're doing a whataboutism.
Can I finish my statement? This isn't a whataboutism.
You're saying dumb shit.
Fuck you.
I'm talking to him, not you.
He's talking to me, not
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no.
Come on, Matt, catch up. Even I knew that.
Where I'm going with this is it's like we have record high gas prices here in America, right? And we have the president of the United States and both left and right wing parties saying, hey, it's because of this war going on in Ukraine, right? Which isn't necessarily true when you look at the fact that
we lost 10% of our oil. We lost 10. Like Russia supplies 10% of the world's oil. OPEC supplies most of it.
Bro, we're the largest oil producer in the world.
I'm not including us. I think we should. I like Kyle Kalinski's idea where we should have a law which says we should, before we export any oil, we need to meet our oil needs domestically off our own supply first.
Well, we can't. That's the thing. We can't. We use more than we produce.
We can, which is why, personally, I think we need to fucking have some level of nationalization of the oil industry.
I agree with you there. 100%. Agreed.
Yeah. But where I'm going with this is even if you want to nationalize the oil industry, that means we're out of Ukraine.
Yeah, probably. But it's
that's kind of what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
It's
but
I don't see this as being any sort of moral thing. It's we're there on the behalf of businesses and corporations. That's it.
And that is a very valid take, and I understand it. I am about principle in terms of I loathe the extreme right wing, and I hate fascists. I with a deep-seated passion. And I'm a believer that your first job as someone with left-wing politics is to cuck fascists at every turn you can. And at the end of the day, like I said, the Russia-Ukraine situation is by happenstance. We American imperialism, which is a categorical bad, is lining up with the moral good of preventing another fascist I was gonna say company, but we're not too far from cyberpunk.
Country. Yeah.
Country.
No, I mean,
so what's your reasoning for supporting Taiwan against China? The history of Taiwan, right? Of them being literal fucking fascists, right?
Yeah, Chiang Kai-shek literally would.
So what's your logic supporting them?
Honestly, at this point, I don't really. Here's my thing. I look at it like this. When it comes to Taiwan, I think I like a couple things about Taiwan. Or one thing in particular, which is how they conduct, their democracy. They fucking fist fight each other in their fucking governmental hearings and stuff.
I saw that shit.
I love that shit. I'm like dead ass. If there's
we should decide the next presidency with an MMA battle. Let Joe
Rogan like legit. we would get rid of all of these greedy old cocksuckers if a requirement would be the possibility to take a punch. I think that you should be, when you walk into the chambers of Congress, you should be prepared to get swung on.
That would be valid.
It's like, dude.
I mean, that would eliminate most of the progressives.
Would leave on a gurney.
What?
That would eliminate most of the progressives, bro. If we're being frank.
You
think Jamal Bowman's beating any of the fucking? You think Jamal Bowman's beating Dan Crenshaw?
No. Here's the thing: if this was the case, barely anybody that's currently here would be here. Dan Crenshaw would probably be one of the few that would. Almost everybody in Congress, almost every person, left or right, would be gone. Because here's the thing: fucking liberals are fucking pacifists.
I don't know, bro. You let Nancy Pelosi get them titties on you, bro. You might get suffocated, bro. You might have to tap out after this.
You might have to tap out after that, bro. And fucking right wingers are they're like Cartman. They're like Cartman from South Park, where they'll talk a big game, and then the moment you punch them, they start crying like a bitch. It's so it's like I think we would get a whole different breed of people in there, and I think it'd be great. But for me, it's like I UFC White House dead ass. Get Dana White on it. That's a great idea.
If they could put what's the fucking guy who owns the UFC? What the fuck is his name?
Dana White.
If they could put Dana White on a fucking Mustang muscular ass fucker in UFC. They better put Trump's face on the most
Wait.
muscular person, put
No.
Biden's face on the most muscular person, and let us fight with the motherfuckers on.
Want to know something crazy?
What?
This is actually kind of happening in a really weird roundabout way. I think it's like Jake
Wait,
Paul,
hold on. This is a good
Logan
question.
Paul,
This is a good question. This is a good question.
No,
and then get to punch women.
you shouldn't,
Hey.
you shouldn't be punching anybody, to be honest.
Hold up, but wait. In the context of feminism and equality, I can't say I disagree with them. We want to
I mean-
be equal. We want women to feel equal in society, right?
Well, no, you guys have to remember, like, there's
and I'm joking. I'm not advocating for
no,
it.
obviously, but no,
Well,
what I
like,
mean, no, but it's like third wave feminism is all about like making it so. I like third wave.
I'm anti all feminism now, bro. Fuck.
Well,
that.
no. Well, here's the thing. Third wave
Once I
feminism
saw Katy
actually
Perry
has an
vote for
answer for
Caruso.
us guys. It actually has an answer for us guys. It is. I like it because part of the philosophy I like to talk about. My girlfriend gets mad at me because she says, "No, it's about this." I'm like, I need to get like let us guys have something here, okay? And it's basically the whole point of it is. And this is in line with my leftist values, the removal of hierarchy and the increase of choice
But Evan, even lobsters have hierarchies.
yeah.
Why does the left seek to abolish hierarchies?
I mean,
Because-
I think that's valid.
Because it's like what it does is that it. Let's be real. If women weren't done fucking dirty by the patriarchal system that we have right here, they would be homophobic as fuck when guys try to like be kind and stuff with their friends and stuff. Like they wouldn't be against they would be against like that shit. Because
I don't know.
I think that's true of the older generation.
Is it a guy's
maybe of
fault if I
males.
like your friends better than you? Isn't that a you problem at that point?
Well, no. Here's what I mean. I have gotten into the habit of saying I love you to like my closest guy friends. This is just in.
You just getting there? I've been on that type time. Ask man. I tell this nigga I love him all the time. I love you, nigga.
I love you too.
But
Wanna make out later.
See, why does male love for their counterparts always equate to homosexual love, bro? Why is that?
patriarchy.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
it really?
110%.
Is it?
Yeah.
I hear more like people in like the super left crowd, like the liberal crowd and all that shit. Like just this notion that like anybody that brings up the hypersexuality, and what I mean by hypersexuality, the hypo-homosexuality in society now, anybody that has any problem with that is like secretly gay, right? Like me pointing. I've asked this question to actual gay people, and I've been told that may be like deep-seated homosexuality in me, and I'm like, nah, I want to be able to tell my bros I love them without being told I'm gay or some shit. I've been told
you have
that
to
more
remember
by.
that most liberals are stupid.
I mean, I agree.
Like for us leftists, they can be useful
No,
idiots.
you
or terrible
you and
bitches.
Matt leftist, please.
I think this is just leftist infighting at the end of the day.
Don't soil my name like that, please. I'm not a leftist.
Oh come on!
You
know
soiled
you
your
know
own
better.
name, goddammit.
I'm not a leftist, bro. I keep trying to tell motherfuckers this shit. I'm not a leftist. And just because I'm not a leftist doesn't mean I'm not a conservative. This isn't white or black, guys.
Oh, so you're part of the forward party then?
Not even. Fuck Andrew Yang, bro. Andrew Yang is only out for Asian people, and I respect that shit. I respect the fuck out of that shit.
But no,
That's-
but
I
like,
just want to get yang banged with some whipped cream.
yeah,
Wait,
you want to
how-
get Yang Gang vibe. You want to get
on
Yang
on
Gang?
on
all I
on
wanted
that
in 2020 was a nice
on
yang
that
bang.
fucking nightmare fuel that was put into my brain, I'm gonna go dip because I got.
I don't
shit
know,
to-
bro. I think I might want some Pete Buttigieg's booty care right now.
Yo, okay, this is not
Unironically, I feel like I've gotten to the point in my life where it's like if you look enough like a woman, even if you have a dick, I'll fuck you in the ass. I don't give a shit.
Whoa, I'm not ever think I'm going to be there.
Oh, so you like femboys?
I guess. I just pretend that they don't have a dick. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I haven't got to try or anything. I'm in a 2-year monogamous relationship with someone I want to marry. So who gives a shit?
Oh, so you're in jail?
No, I'm not in jail. I'm happily.
Ew.
I'm as far as I'm concerned.
Cringing at the misogynist undertones of that joke.
You're simping for the matriarchy right now.
No,
I mean,
okay. So
well, here's the thing. Both
Evan.
me and my girlfriend are both. Oh, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
if you do think femboys are interesting, join the army. There's
I
a lot of femboys. In the army.
thought that was the Navy.
Oh, honestly, all branches right about now are pretty like femboyed out.
The
which is-
Marines, I'm
yo,
not surprised because their
I'ma
brains
leave
are
you guys with
deteriorated
this.
from all the glue they've eaten.
I'm gonna leave Evan with this because I know he has to go. It's this amazing scene that I always laugh every time I see it in Dope. It's this scene where the gay character Diggy in the movie is walking with them and they're like having normal teenage conversations. And like they just zoom in on this one conversation. She's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like she's a gay character. She's a lesbian.
Mhm.
She was like, I don't know, guys. I was watching Justin Bieber last night. I got a little moist. He's a pretty ass nigga. I was like, yo, that's when I went down a whole rabbit hole of discovering what femboys were.
Yo, here's my fucking thing, y'all. Though here's my thing.
It was weird.
Why do guys think like why are there those guys that like when their friend comes out to them as gay they think like, oh, this man's trying to fuck me? I'm like, and it's always the ugliest motherfuckers too. I'm like, man, you can't even get women to like you as is. Why? Like, I don't know about y'all. I've had the luxury of getting to be friends with a lot of gay folk. Their standards are different. Like, and most straight men do not meet them.
Oh man, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, me and Caleb had a gay bar friend for a little bit. Who
That nigga was funny as shit, bro. That nigga was funny as shit. You talking about Chris, bro? Shout out to Chris, dog. I
hope
remember.
he's doing well.
That nigga was funny as shit. He had problems, you know. He would talk to us about him and shit. But aside from all that
he had y'all busting out laughing and shit. Yeah,
bro.
He was
every time
amazing, but he also Caleb, you saw this. He outgayed me.
Bro.
Because he's actually gay, and I'm just like, there's no line I'm willing to cross.
Bruh, that was funny to watch. Matt get outgayed, but is it technically being outgayed if you're faking and one nigga's dead ass serious, bro? Like he's like, bro, like I will literally take your ass right now, bro. Like keep talking like that.
So Matt, do you gay code yourself?
Not necessarily.
What does that mean? You guys are
so I Republican code myself. I deliberately dress like a Republican so that fascists tell me things in public randomly. It's basically like either inadvertently or
you got like an Elon Musk thing going on. I can see it.
Yeah, no.
Like you wear like the hats all the time and shit.
I wear work boots and blue jeans. Like, dude, I work at a fucking bank, and I like as a programmer, and I wear blue jeans, boots, black t-shirt, and hat every fucking day. Like,
oh, you better stop. You gonna shoot that shit up one day, bro. You better stop.
I
mean, you come in with a frown. Everybody asks you okay today? You look angry today. Are you okay today?
Just remember, I was nice to you.
Everybody I work with, except for 3 people, are all Hindi or Desi. So
bro,
they don't understand. They don't understand the risks. Like
at my old job, we had this one truck driver that would come in, and we literally called this motherfucker school shooter, bro. That was his name.
No, dead ass. People thought I was gonna be a school shooter back when I was in high school. My friends told me. Like,
really?
I fucked up. Like I lost my coat and I couldn't find it, so I wore my stepdad's coat, and I realized it was a trench coat, and I wore it to school, and I wore it all day because I didn't want to carry it. And everybody was extra nice to me that day, and I didn't understand why until 2016 when I'm out at fucking like McDonald's at 2 a.m. with 2 of my friends I went to school with, and we were just getting up to some shit. And they told me like, oh yeah, dead ass. Everybody thought that day you were gonna you had a shotgun under your shit, which is like I have the most fucking neoliberal parents on the planet. They don't own guns.
Wait until you see what's in my trench coat.
On that note, Evan, we're gonna go ahead and bid you fair due. Matt just said some stupid shit. We're gonna close out the show.
I quoted a Ghost Main song.
Thank you, Evan, for coming on. It's always a pleasure.
Caleb, I'm sorry I was being aggressive. I know that it's just when I disagree with points and stuff.
I love it.
You guys want to just kiss and make up?
No, because I love that aggressive energy, bro.
I have too much trauma at the bottom, so here you have to take this dick, bro. I'm sorry.
You must not argue with a lot of black men, bro. If you're not yelling at each other, bro, you're not talking about shit when you're debating.
My whole thing is like, why argue? Like, it's wasted energy.
What, yelling?
I like arguing.
I know you like arguing because you always bring up the shit that grinds my fucking gears.
I mean, look, that's me. But we will bid you a
So
fair
what were
due,
we?
my
Wait,
guy.
real quick. What were we supposed to talk about?
We talked
Midterms
about it.
in the
No,
future.
we talked about him. We
Did
talked about him.
we? Oh,
We
I don't
talked about
remember.
DeSantis v. Trump.
Briefly talked about midterms, but it came into this whole.
I mean, the whole thing. We just went with midterms. We were talking about like foreign policy and shit. In terms of
Okay,
midterms.
fair enough.
We covered midterms a lot. It may not have seemed like it, but we covered midterms a lot.
Yeah.
But
All right,
Evan,
gentlemen, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Will
you as
do.
well. I'm probably
I'm gonna
going live
watch.
once me and Matt get off. I'm going live again. So
I'm probably gonna watch the last episode of Atlanta and cry a little bit because
I'm getting caught up on the blacklist at the moment.
oh, is that what's his face? He played Ultron.
James Spader.
Yeah.
His character is the only reason to watch that fucking show. It's great. If you ever watched Boston Legal and like saw like him playing Alan Shore, which was basically the only fucking reason to watch that godforsaken show. It's excellent. It's a slow burn type of show. It's really good.
I have to check it out. But Evan,
See
Peace,
y'all. Have a
man.
good one. Peace.
me too.
all right, Matt, is there anything you wanted to talk about before we hopped off?
No, I think I'm good. We've been on for damn near 3 hours.
Oh man, that was a hell of a fucking thing. Hold on, Charo actually wanted to. Charo wanted to say something, so hold on. Let me. Here, let me. Invoice. That was a stressful ass conversation. Third wave isn't good. They want to be superior. Well, the thing is, your eye is that like third wave feminism is, and I didn't get to say this, like has carve outs for like guys, and it basically is about removing. It's not just about like the equality bit. It's about making it so you have the choice to live whatever type of life you want. You know, as far as gendered roles go. You know, if I wanted to be a house husband for my girlfriend, I could, and society doesn't, you know, demonize me or ostracize me in any way. Or if you wanted to actually have, or for you in Aaliyah's relationship, like a more traditional one, that's completely okay. The point of it is preventing society from telling you what types of relationships you can and can't have, and what type of roles that fit within those, like among consenting adults. And that generally is what's good. Like the second wave, I would argue, is significantly worse than the third because it pitted women and men against each other and made it appear like women and men are, you know, women are like have to treat men as an adversary and vice versa, and that was not necessarily healthy. And that ended up like going into how we have TERFs, you know, today, who are trans exclusionary radical feminists who are more on the trans exclusionary aspect and less on the radical feminist part. And so with third wave feminism, it basically makes it so, hey, live your life the way you want. Nobody has any right to tell you otherwise, so long as it's between consenting adults. Who gives a shit? If you want a traditional conservative relationship, have at it. If you want a polyamorous relationship with multiple different people, great. At the end of the day, so long as people are happy, in love, and everybody's consenting, who gives a shit? And that's what's important. Oh, man. Invoice. But yeah, that's why I like it. It's good. But yeah, oh man, that was quite the event. Let me see if I can get Chara real quick. Apply to that. Dead. I'll just add them. Oh my god, this fucker again. Alright, let me actually real quick go back to YouTube Studio. Go to settings. Girls 18. Alright, let's throw that into the blocked words. Bloggers. Should make it a little harder for that to get in, but alright, ladies and gents, I am just about done. I think I'm gonna call it for the evening. Thank you everybody for sitting through that. I know that was stressful. God knows it was stressful. I generally don't like to be too aggressive with when I'm debating stuff like that, but I felt like given the fact that I was dealing with both Bendu and a tanky and Matt, I needed to be a little bit more aggressive and obstinate because, you know, at the end of the day, it's like when I know someone's wrong and they're pulling out a bunch of facts, my general rule of thumb is like, I know the position is inherently wrong. I know the position is wrong, and I know that the facts built up around the position are fabricated or are deliberately misleading. It's something I've learned when I'm dealing with conservatives. They generally don't their logic, their facts, they all stem from their feelings and not reality. And when dealing with red fascists and fascist leftists and stuff like that, you kind of have to take the same approach. It might not come off as like intellectual, like it might not come off as good faith per se, but like I also like I've learned that getting into the weeds of things is how they're able to like obfuscate from getting at the solid point. And I'm not like a stellar debater. I'm not a stellar debater by any stretch of the imagination. But what I am is, I am confident in my beliefs, and I am confident that they are right, and I've done enough research on a lot of the opposing viewpoints. While I do not know every single piece of knowledge to disprove it, I do know enough to know that anything that is brought forth is either already been debunked or is an outright lie framed as evidence. So that's just a good frame of reference, because like a lot of the people, like especially conservatives, will outright lie about reality just so they can get a win, because they care about winning more than they care about actual good policy and actual things like that. So regardless, I've been rambling for far too long. Ladies and gents, thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you bunches. God, it's been 3 hours. Holy hell. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, night. It's almost 10 o'clock. I will catch you guys on the flip. Have a great one.